This week, we are putting a wrap on 2025, about 3 weeks after into 2026. But it's time to convene the Council of Elrond for television, I guess, for this. So I've got the two individuals that I love talking with TV about. We do a top 10 TV shows of the year so far, and we do our 2025 recap. But I have Shane here. Shane, how's it going?
Doing all right, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And Alice, Alice, what's going on? How you doing?
Doing very, very well. I have a woofy dog behind me, but he has paused for exactly this moment, so feeling good.
Very nice. So we've got a couple categories to go through along with our top tens, and maybe just go briefly through some shows we're looking forward to in 2026. But before we get into our top tens, let's go through some things that we thought about television in 2025. Let's first start with, does anybody have like a winner of television in 2025? Alice, I'll start with you. Oh, hi, puppy.
Yep.
Alice, in your opinion,
You can think
who
of it.
won television in 2025? It could be a person, it could be a streamer, it could be a studio, it could be an individual. What do you think?
I think that what I'm going to go with, it's funny because normally I'll look at kind of my top 10 and I'll be like, oh, is there an actor? Like I think Ella Purnell was my winner last year, for example, because she was doing so well and she continues to do well. And then like we had, streaming or like maybe there's a streamer that's done a lot. But I think I'm going to say, and this is also me because I know we've talked about this ad nauseum already across many of the other years. TV starting to be on a annual release
Mhm.
like schedule again. So the shows that are working as TV should and the quality that is being made by those TV. So there's a couple in particular, obviously, like, well, I'm definitely going to be talking about them. People have already, but like a big one, a big example we've already spoken about in our mid-year, The Pit, 1 year between both seasons. It can be done, but it's happening. I think there's a couple more that I'm going to mention where they came out the last year and they managed to come out this year, and by this year I mean 2025, and they're going to have their next season in 2026. And it's we still have some big prestige TV, which is like you'll get the next season eventually, but which is again, I will definitely be discussing one prime example of this. But there is enough now that A shows quality and also renown that I'm like, this is the winner. The winner is going back to TV being TV again. I think that there was this blurring of lines for too long between, oh, it's prestige, so therefore we get to have this weird blank check. And I think that it's like, let's actually, like, there's a reason it's television, right? And so 1 year should be plenty of time. Even if it's like a year and a half, I'm happy to give that grace. But 2, 3, 4 years, it's getting ridiculous. And I'm glad that we're pulling back from that now.
That's yes, that is accurate. Two episodes into the pit, and
Mm-hmm.
so far in 2026, and it feels nice just to be
Yeah.
getting a show so quickly, especially a good show as well.
Yep.
Like, look, say what you will about certain shows. Like, I hate to call out like certain studios. Like, well,
I was
I
gonna say
think
Stranger Things,
I
Netflix.
well one I think once I'm going to call out Paramount Plus for a second with
Mm.
this, because the Taylor Sheridan shows come out on a pretty frequent basis. And granted, those don't require a whole lot in the name of like special effects, but you're also starting to see a trend that some of the people in the Taylor Sheridan shows are not working as much because they've kind of taken, maybe perhaps, I don't know, a hard right turn when it comes to certain things. Pun kind of intended, but they're not working as much. So they can pump out these shows regularly, as Taylor Sheridan is clearly, because I'm watching Landman and it's been a
My
year.
God, it's okay. I've been seeing clips of that coming out, and I'm like, this feels weird.
Oh, there's Landman just had like their penultimate episode, had a
Is that the one with
storyline.
the college roommate? Because that's been all over my TikTok, and I've been like, this feels like parody.
Well, it feels
Like,
like a parody, but it also feels like Taylor Sheridan clearly has something to say about this.
mm-hmm,
And depending on what he says in the final episode, which airs tonight, I'm out. I'm done. I can't do any
mm,
more Taylor Sheridan stuff if he cannot show that there are consequences for people's actions in a way that makes sense and isn't just about culture wars or wokeness or
mm-hmm.
whatever he thinks of that. Because if I'm looking for someone's opinion on culturally relevant stuff and wokeness, Taylor Sheridan is not the person that I want to hear any of this shit from.
No.
But yes, Alice, that's great call for that. Jane, what
So,
120? Oh, go ahead.
well, I guess just to add on to that, it is nice to actually, be able to count on some shows actually coming out and not being like,
Yeah.
did this show get canceled or is it just taking this long for this to actually come out?
Mhm.
And,
Hmm.
to like that Mike brought up like special effects heavy shows, but like
It's never
what
the
it's so
special
from
effects though.
no,
It's
from what
literally
it
like
sounds
they
like,
It's the actor's schedule or
no, it's not
the
even that
writing
half the time.
process.
Yes, they're like, oh, we're gonna meet in the writer's room in October, and they're saying this in like February. I'm like, no,
Mhm.
no, I don't know. I was thinking about this today while I was doing laundry, of course, and I was literally like, no, you know what? You get to do a job that people would kill for. Like you literally get to make up stories and then film those stories and then like go back in the it's so hard to sit in the writers room. I know I'm going on a rant, but like I'm just like, no, what are you doing? Do the writing, take a like 2 to 3 month break, which is plenty of time, and then do it again. I don't see like well done. You made a successful show. It's not the visual. If it was the visual effects, that's one thing, but it's never the visual
No.
effects.
well, and it tends to happen with the really big show, like genre shows like that a lot of the time. And I haven't watched the new documentary about the making of Stranger Things, but I've heard some not great stuff, seeing as, they didn't even go in with a ending going into
Too.
and it's just like it took you that long to write this and you didn't even figure out something. It's like you could have started that well before that without knowing an ending because you did that anyway. But
Mhm.
it's I'm glad to see some of those shows. And yes, the Paramount Plus is probably very happy that they have regularly pumping out those Taylor Sheridan shows, like 5 or 6 of them every year, because they get a lot of attention. I'm pretty sure that and Star Trek are the only things getting people to Paramount Plus on this point. But
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
that's
they also streamed the Golden Globes.
did they? Because do you have any idea how hard it was to find the Golden Globes on Paramount Plus? It's unbelievable. Like, how am I? Yeah, like it's crazy.
to be fair, they probably wanted to bury that
Well,
because,
especially Nikki
who,
Glazer had some
who,
accurate opinions about that.
well, no, I mean, well, I'm saying more from, who owns Paramount now. But,
You mean the
it is what it
government
is.
sponsored
My
propaganda?
I feel like my biggest winner, and this was a close call between two streaming services. I'm still gonna go with HBO Max, and this is like 99% just HBO
Hmm.
because actually I can't really think of how many like just Max originals they have. It seems like so many of them they were just going to be Max originals, and like HBO's like, no, we're plopping
No,
that on
we're
Sunday
we're
night.
we're we're annexing this for ourselves.
Yeah,
Too
it's
relevant.
like
Sorry.
I know I'm on Last of Us season 2 a lot higher than others, and I eat up any of these Danny McBride shows. Like I'm so happy with them, and surely talking about those. But even like the tail end of the year with that trio of It, Welcome to Derry, The Chair Company, and I Love LA
Mhm.
getting a lot of attention. Like I don't think It, Welcome to Derry is a perfect show. There's some crazy
Choice
wild things and
choices made. Yeah.
choices and like but it was still crazy fun to watch. And I've seen so many memes about it, especially like small child flipping the bird to Pennywise clown. But no, I think HBO Max is certainly up there. And I think Apple's just establishing itself as we consistently just put out great stuff.
Hmm.
And more people just need to watch it. So, and I think that's Apple's biggest problem.
We can't hear you, Alice.
You're right. I muted myself so I wouldn't interrupt, and then I interrupted anyway. Apple doesn't even have the crux or the what's the way, the like fallback of having a huge library of stuff for people to just like keep around for.
Yeah.
I literally only have it because so many things I watch that are currently airing or are about to air live there. They're originals.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, they have a movie that goes to the movies and then comes over like every now and again, but they don't have this gigantic, they're not like Netflix, whatever. It's like, oh, I want to watch this movie. Yeah, I might as well keep Netflix because it's like, yeah, I watch the shows. And also they have this giant like thing of movies. It's literally like, I mean, all the really like the stuff that I keep to make sure I watch it on the TV rather than on my phone while I'm getting ready. Like a lot of the time it's Apple stuff. Like they're consistent.
Yeah. Well, and there's a level of consistency with Apple, you're right, because their original content, if you're looking for sci-fi, they've got you covered. If you're looking for like a feel-good comedy, they've got you covered. If you're looking for underrated stuff, like one of the shows that I'm looking forward to so much in 2026 is Drop of God. And it's a show
the
about
wine one.
it's a show about wine. And
Yeah, I
I'm
keep
like,
flip-flopping on that one. I keep being like, this looks intriguing.
it is intriguing. It's a show that I was like, there's no way in hell that this is getting a second season. Yet here we are, because Apple, for the most part, they will give shows at minimum 2 to 3 year season chances. And except for like a handful, it's like, you canceled this. We have 5 seasons of a certain show, and you canceled that. Fine, okay, cool, thanks, Apple. But and Apple, like towards the tail end of this year, really got going with certain shows, and they're going to be off to like a hot start this year with Shrinking coming out, another season of Monarch. Yeah, it's maybe not Monarch, whatever. Anyways,
I'm excited about Monarch.
my winner for 2025 is Netflix, for a couple reasons. One, it's going to be HBO Netflix Max maybe at some point if we merge, which I'm
Netmax.
yeah, sure, like
No, it's just going to be Netflix. They're just going to completely destroy the HBO Max.
Which I'm concerned about that aspect. Needless to say, also for the theater going experience, like, we're going to keep everything 45 days. Like, yeah, you also said that you're going to keep prices the same for a year, yet here we are. So, okay, cool. But the other thing too is that the physical media aspect, it's like, are we going to get physical media? Well, we'll see. But
no, because then you own something, Mike. You're not allowed to own things anymore.
No, of course not. Why? How silly of me. But the real reason, taking aside that Netflix ended 3 of their biggest shows this year. So Cobra Kai, which that doesn't count because that's a YouTube Red or YouTube original one first that Netflix was like, we're going to capitalize on this. Squid Game ended, but that should have ended with season 1.
Ago.
That should have ended with season 1. But for them to finally put a cap and end Stranger Things as well, you've got another season of Wednesday. But it's completely fair also that Netflix won the year because they arguably had the biggest movie of the year with K-pop Demon Hunters as well. So for Netflix to have something that,
and they almost had weapons, which is crazy.
Oh my god!
They would have like, yeah. Well, the only reason they didn't is because Zach Kreger was like, no, I want a theatrical release. I don't want. So he turned down more money because he was promised a theatrical release with the one he went with,
which ironic was Warner Brothers, and
yeah, exactly.
Who knows? Eventually, it's all gonna end up there anyways. So yeah, Netflix for me very much my winner of 2025 with a close second. Alice, I do agree wholeheartedly with you. There is something kind of nice that we are starting to get more consistent television because I think HBO is the one that recognizes this the most because they're doing this with The Pitt. They're fast tracking another season of Task to come out pretty soon, hopefully by the end of this year, which that would be great if they did
I'm
that.
not super like we've talked about this. Like, I'm not looking forward to it necessarily, but I think the big tester will be how fast are they going to pump out the Harry Potter seasons? That'll be, if they manage to pump those out once a year, that'll and they are successful like they hope that they are. That's going to, I think, change the game.
I mean, aren't you looking forward to, Prisoner of Azkaban and all the kids look like, Percy Jackson too, or
I will talk on that.
yeah, or Stranger Things season 3? It's like, oh, you
Oh
all
my
are just about
gosh.
to enter high school.
Mhm.
Right. Okay, I'll believe it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right. Now that we have our winners, let's talk about the ones that we lost. Any TV shows that ended or were canceled this year that hurt or were like, oh, this was too late. Alice, I'll start with you. Any TV shows that ended this year, either organically or were canceled, that you just want to be like, let's just pour one out for you.
Yes. I know why it did, and I agree with the reason it did, because bad people shouldn't be rewarded. However, the Sandman ending this year was really sad because I love fantasy, as you can probably tell, and also just in general, like I talk about it all the time. I don't think we make nearly enough for the amount of stories that actually exist, like in written format or even just like that could be made originally. We should be there's just so much potential and we aren't living up to that potential, and it's because for some reason people freak out when it comes to adapting them. And The Sandman was like, the first season was spectacular, and then the fact that it got a second season and it was so exciting and it was going to be this huge, like, we didn't even, like, as things go for nowadays in terms of having to wait, it wasn't that long. It was like 2 years. That's not a huge wait for something that costs that much and requires that level of visual effects and everything. And then, of course, look, the elephant in the room, awful person, it ends up being the person who created it, and so now all of those adaptations are now going to like literal hell, like in the show. And so the Netflix made the decision, all right, we'll finish the arc, but we're not, like, this could have been like a huge, like every 2 years we get a season. And because of the type of show it is, every 2 years is fine. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's not like it's a very like atmospheric, like, anthological kind of, we're looking at legends, and this is, almost like a modern mythology sort of thing. So it's like, yeah, okay, a couple years to put that together because you're kind of like reinventing the wheel every single time. And instead, it's like 2 seasons, which did, yes, finish, I think, the main arc of the comics. But obviously, a lot had to be like rushed and left out. And like, there's certain things that happen in season 2 where it's like, this could have been like this could have been the whole season, and then we could have had a whole third season about like the back half of it. And it was still like emotional and really like wonderfully made and exciting and like captivating, but it is really depressing. And there was a part of me, again, while I was doing laundry, I have a lot of, people have shower thoughts, I have laundry thoughts. One of my laundry thoughts today was literally like, gosh, is it so hard for people to be good people and stop ruining the things I love?
Yes, it is so hard for people just to be kind. We had a conversation about this actually just 24 hours ago when me, Adam, Luke, and Shane talked about the movie Harvey, right? So,
yep.
I don't know why kindness is so hard, but anyways. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, so The Sandman is for me because it's like representative, I think, of a few things, but it was a wonderful opportunity that is now going to be like, oh, that was a great 2 seasons, and now it's gone forever.
I'll go next. For me, I think I'm going to go with cancellation that hurt, because there's one in my top 10 that I will talk about a little bit later, but The Residence on Netflix. I feel like that could have been a fun mystery show a la a Benoit Blanc for television, because that was just such a fun show. And the fact that they canceled it after 1 year, is very on brand for Netflix, because
Mhm.
a lot of the shows that kind of ended organically this year, it's like, yeah, it was time
It was
for
time. Yep.
for a lot of these shows. But the fact that Netflix canceled a show that I think could have been something where it could have easily been done on an annual basis, uh, sucks a lot for me. Also, I do want to pour one out for The Bondsman on Amazon. That was an interesting, like dark fantasy sci-fi type of thing. Plus, Kevin Bacon looks like he's having a blast doing that show, and they just ended it, and it sucks because it ends on
Mm.
I hate when shows end on a super cliffhanger, and it sucks because now
Mhm.
we're never gonna get
You shouldn't be
anything.
allowed to have a cliffhanger unless you're guaranteed a next season. I think that should be the rule. It frustrates me so
Well,
much.
Alice, here's the problem: is that even if you're renewed for a second season, it doesn't matter because there's sometimes where it's like, yeah, we renewed you, but we're not actually gonna
Mm,
do this.
like,
So,
Nope.
yeah.
Shane, you got any shows that ended or that were canceled that were like, ugh, come
I
on?
think Resident Alien and Righteous Gemstones are two shows where
Mm.
they still went out on high, me loving those shows. I'm just sad they're over at that point. And do you have things like Stranger Things and The Handmaid's Tale that like these have been like a big chunk of the past like 10 years? And
Yeah.
like
But
Handmaid's
I'm
Tale,
relieved that they're done.
I'm just happy that they got their shit together at the end of The
Mm.
Handmaid's Tale after
Yeah.
spinning wheels for like 3 seasons. And
Yeah.
Stranger Things, it's just like I can't I can't deny that I'm gonna miss that show. It's just it was such a big part of the past 10 years. The show that I'm mad about is I'm mad at Peacock for canceling Poker Face because I love that show. And Peacock, what else do you have? Like, come on. So I'm hoping that Ryan Johnson finds a new home for it. But that in particular ended on a crazy ending of season 2 with so many questions. And then it's like, nope, just over. So I'm mad at you, Peacock.
To answer your question about what else does Peacock have, nothing. Nothing at this point because they do really well with, one season and we're done. Mini series or limited series. Bel Air is done as well because that ended, but they've got Twisted Metal and The Paper. Probably that's really about it. Yeah, I don't know what Peacock is doing on the television front because
Just lost all the WWE catalog to ESPN and Disney. So then it's just like, who's even going to Peacock at this point? So they're the
uh
big losers of 2020. But
yeah,
that wasn't a question. So
I mean, there are plenty of losers going around for the streaming for television, and yeah, I suppose I should have had a winner and a loser, but
we don't need to, highlight and point out the negatives. But I'm just saying Peacock would be it.
yeah.
But
Uh,
anyway,
I'm gonna save underrated and underseen for, we'll just say honorable mentions after our top 10, so I'll save
okay.
that for later. Favorite TV performance of 2025. For me, this was tricky because there's a lot of great performances
Mm.
this year. It's really hard for me not to pick the ones that have won all the awards and all the prestige this year because there's a reason why for the most part
Mhm.
all those individuals won. But unfortunately, I'm going to because for me, my best performance of the year, Jesus, it's his first credit. It's Owen Cooper in Adolescence.
Mm.
How on earth is this his only credited role? Now, on one end, I'm a little concerned though, because it's like, okay, you were great in this, but Hollywood, unfortunately, is like, what else can you do? Like, can you do a comedy? Can you do like, are you just going to be in these drama limited series? He's got a bunch of things going from this point forward. I'm very curious to
Yeah.
see what he's going to do to follow up with this. But there have been, younger performers who have, knocked out a role and then they're pigeonholed into one particular role moving forward, or they just don't break out the way that you thought. So I'm very curious to see how his career goes, but Owen Cooper is my performance of the year. Shane, who's your performance of the year?
I'm probably gonna go with Rhea Seehorn for Orbis. I love her so much, and I'm really hoping that this show actually gets her some real recognition this time,
Right,
seeing as like
Oh,
yeah,
she's already
awards wise,
won a bit, so she seems to be
because
cleaning it up
like
a bit.
all of those years on Better Call
Mm.
Saul just like get completely ignored awards wise. But no, this is such an interesting role too, this isolated character who basically has the whole entire world against her at this point
Mm.
and fighting this uphill Sisyphus battle of just like
Yeah.
pushing back on this. And then at the end of that season, really getting me invested in this unfortunate and 100% going to be tragic connection that she makes. And it's just like so many complicated emotions just watching her performance in this show. And she's fantastic. And that show just dropped the bomb on us at the very end, leading into the next season. So that'll be interesting.
good call with that. Alice?
She was on my list, so I'm glad that's been taken off. Look, the obvious one is the one that's been winning everything anyway, which is Noah Wiley. So I'm gonna go with Denise Goff from Andor because I think that she has a really tricky like job in that show because she is so hateful
Mhm.
and so like awful, but she's so subtle. It's like a very subtle performance as performances go. And so I just like I was very impressed, even, obviously Andor, like it was like a crazy kind of show, which again I'm sure we'll talk about more later. But what she's able to do, how she's able to do it in such a, I think very similar to Rhea Seehorn, where it's just like I've been loving these portrayals of women that aren't quote unquote feminine. Like they're just real and it's like they happen to be women, which is like, it's exactly what it should be, where it's like it doesn't always have to be an identifier. It can just be like, this is a story that is told from this opinion or this perspective, and this perspective has this person in it. And it's like, yeah, she's very hateful, but she's the character rather, and but also like you can see the constant war, and then when you have the whole Cyril character element enter it, and like how she kind of navigates that, just a very good performance. It's excellent.
That's a great answer. And one that should be getting more attention for awards
Yeah,
love. Like I feel like
it's a
the whole
classic sci-fi fantasy genre, like sci-fi kind of like it's a Star Wars thing, you know.
yeah. No, and it sucks because I think there's a huge difference between it's a Star Wars thing and Andor, right? Because Andor's
Hmm.
just doing something completely different as opposed to, I would probably say like Ahsoka is probably a good example. It's like this is
Yeah, or
typical.
Skeleton Crew.
Yes, exactly. We're not going to talk about the Acolyte because it didn't even get a chance to be anything.
I'm still sad. I will forever be sad about that.
I didn't think Disney had the balls to actually cancel that
Yeah.
because it's yikes.
Hmm.
Like how bad and how much backlash is enough? Well, I guess it's an Acolyte level of backlash, which
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
stupid because
Yep.
anyways,
Still stupid.
it is still
Still
stupid.
stupid.
Let's go ahead and there's plenty of more performances I'm sure that we'll shout out in
Hmm.
our top 10s and honorable mentions. But the last thing that we'll do before we'll do our top 10 favorite TV moment or episode.
Hmm.
Now, like, look, if you've got a whole episode that you love, great. I shout out to you for that. But that's why I also said, hey, if you've just got a moment in an episode, that works too. So, Alice, do you have a favorite episode or moment in television this year?
I think I am going to go with an episode because of it was the one that really like I think captivated is a good word to use, and I think it's made up of a series of moments, which is the Chikai Bardo episode of Severance season 2, which is the episode where I'll just say the life of a character that someone has been living is unveiled through the rooms that they have to enter and kind of
Oh.
what happens to them. Yeah. To give context to those who have
Oh,
seen him,
oh.
the context setting episode for a character that you have seen a lot, but then you're like, oh, this has been happening the whole time. And I like the show is obviously amazing, as we've talked about, and it's got a fantastic concept and it's intriguing, but this was a storyline where you're like, okay, I'm intrigued. I want to kind of see how you can convince me. And it was a form of I honestly could have said the Australian actress, by the way, who plays Miss Casey.
Mhm.
I honestly could have said her for performance because it is quite extraordinary what she has to do this season. But it is, and I'm going to bring up her name. So her name, believe, is Deechin. I'm probably butchering it, but Deechin Lockman. But you've seen her a lot. Like she's that one of those character actresses who's been in a lot of things, and she has a starring kind of role in this season, particularly this episode, from where it begins to where it ends, and that context setting. And it is heartbreaking. It is fascinating, and it really ramps up the season where you get to a point where you're just like, oh, okay, yes, I'm getting more, especially for a show that gives you the smallest crumbs of an answer, where you're like, this is so weird, I have to keep watching. But also it has such a humanity to it where it really hits at the core of what they're doing and why we care. And I just remember watching it being horrified, but I couldn't look away.
Oh, yeah, that's a great choice for that.
Severance felt so long ago.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm gonna pick a moment for me, and I think for me, probably the the interesting thing about this is because I have a couple that were in my top 10, but I wanted to pick something that's just outside my top
Mhm.
10, and I'm sure it's gonna get mentioned because I'm pretty sure one of you has it on your list. But the first episode of Paradise, when you pull back a little bit and you're just like,
Oh, yep.
oh, that's what's going on.
Mhm.
I don't know why I didn't see it coming because the guys that created Paradise are the same ones that did This Is Us. And then once you figure out what's going on in This Is Us, it's like, duh. Like, of course that's what they were gonna do with that. But for me, that sets the stage for a much more interesting show beyond what you thought it was going to be, which is just a whodunit in terms of murdering or killing the president. It just elevates the
Mhm.
show and ups the stakes so much more. And then even later on, when they have the episode where it's like, how did we get to this point? That's one of the best episodes of television that we have so far. So
Mhm.
Paradise, another show that's coming back this year. It's like, really? Okay, I will take that.
Mhm.
So for me, that's my episode or moment of the year. Shane, what's yours?
So this is one that really connected with me because I love the show so much. Was that season premiere of The Righteous Gemstone season 5, where one of the main reasons I love this show so much is because of the characters, and this show had none of the characters on this premiere, with the whole Bradley Cooper being like the original Gemstone backstory. And there was it could even just be a particular moment at the very end of the episode where he really connects with like some real faith.
Mhm.
And it also sets up this MacGuffin that becomes really significant in the season. It was just such an unexpected premiere episode for this last season, and it just hit. And the fact that they got Bradley Cooper to show up in this show was pretty wild too, because I was really shocked when I'm like, wait a minute, is that Bradley Cooper?
Mm.
And he did an amazing job, and he felt so organically part of this family that it has such capacity for being despicable, but then also has capacity to actually be meaningful and caring on some level.
Mhm.
So that was a really cool moment for me with that show.
The fact that the final season of The Righteous Gemstones is bookended by the power of prayer in particular. And look, I'm not the most religious or spiritual person, but even if you're not, you understand the significance that prayer can have to somebody from those two scenes. And you're right, Bradley Cooper just kind of popping in there for a second. I'm liking this Bradley Cooper just showing up for a cup of coffee in movies and in television, because he did that in Superman this year.
I just
He did,
rewatched Superman yesterday. I'm just like, well, there he is.
and I just rewatched Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, and I was like,
Mm.
oh my God, I completely forgot that you were in here for, just a quick conversation. It's hilarious, and I'm hoping that Bradley Cooper will continue to flex in that way, in addition to making his very good, if not Oscar baity movies. So, all right, the moment has come upon us where we will do our top 10 shows of the year. Now, we will follow the similar format that we have been following, where we will talk about it at the latest possible point. So if somebody says the show, just say punt, and we will talk about it when it is at the highest point. I think for the purposes of this, if all three of us have seen the show, let's talk spoilers. If one of us has not seen the show, then we will tap dance around stuff and we will refrain from spoilers. Okay, so top 10, I will go first for this. And my top 10 has shifted a little bit since you and I recorded, Shane. Not by much, but it's, gone from there. But my number 10 is The Diplomat on Netflix. Anybody, does anybody even watch The Diplomat? Okay.
No.
No, because you don't have time, or no, because you're not interested. Either way, you're all good. I
I
understand
think
that.
it's somewhere on my watch list, but it just this year I know we didn't talk generally about our watching habits this year, but I actually took a big step down from television from the past 2 years, because I've taken an extremely unhealthy step up in movie watching. But no, Diplomat just hasn't crossed my path yet.
Yeah, I would say it's just one of those things where it's like I sometimes a show will come out and you're like, that's kind of interesting, but you missed season one, and then there's like another season, and then by the time you're like, oh, just you know what? I just don't have the moment right now. If I'm and then it's just like, well, I've missed that one,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of where this has landed for me.
Alice, like a good example for me with that. The Gilded Age was like that, and then this year with the most recent season, I was like, you know what, we're doing it. We're binging this, and we're going from there. And according to Serialized, it's my most watched show of the year. So it's like, cool. The Gilded Age and the Thundermans, which is a stupid, deep. She's not awake right now, but stupid show on currently on Netflix. It's a Nickelodeon show about a family of superheroes. It's great. It's great. Alice, you have that to look forward to one day, where it's like, oh, I have to watch this because cool.
Because they want to.
Yeah. So
but then they have to watch what I want to watch, so it's fine.
Oh,
Well, that's what I've decided.
Yeah,
I know that that's not true.
We'll see how that goes. So
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the reason why The Diplomat is this high on my list is because it pays off something that happens in the first season, which, granted, it's not that long of a season and we're only on season 3, but it pays off something, and then it sets the stage for the conflict that is to come the rest of the season, which that's cool. And then the final part, or the final episode, it's just going to forever change the dynamics of the show. Kerry Russell is still phenomenal in the show. We've got Allison Janney and then Bradley Whitford as a power couple within the U.S. government. But I think for me, the real standout performance this year, or for The Diplomat, Rufus Sewell is just doing some amazing work in that. Like, it's true, Kerry Russell, she's the star through and through, and she's the most she's top billing. But Rufus Sewell as her husband, I guess, There's a dynamic there that's like, oh, everything's different now. Cool. Let's see how this pans out. So for me, The Diplomat is my number 10. And now I'm, kind of what Alice is talking about. There's so many shows like that where it's like, oh
Mm-hmm.
crap, I just missed this. The Diplomat for a little while. I was a little late to The Diplomat, but I caught up after season two and or like right when season two was going on. So I was like, you know what? And like I'm glad that I did. Like, is it like groundbreaking television? No, it's just good, solid television. So Shane, what is your number 10
So my number 10 is Hal and Harper from Movie.
movie? Yeah.
And I was a little surprised that Cooper Raiff went in the direction of making a show after his first two films, which Shithouse and Cha Cha Real Smooth, I think are both fantastic. I think the main reason this one is so high for me is I absolutely love Harper's story in this show, and I think Lily Reinhart delivers one of my favorite performances of the year with this. Super Rafe's character Hal is pretty annoying and obnoxious, but in like a way that's supposed to be that way, and he plays it perfectly. And then you just have that added layer of Mark Ruffalo and Betty Gilpin's storyline as well, with Mark Ruffalo playing their father. And there's a lot of layers of grief and love and tough decisions and uncomfortable family dynamics and codependency that this show navigates. And they do the Pen 15 thing of adults playing themselves as
Mm.
children with a bunch of other children, which Pen 15, it's funny and it's silly and it's weird. I'm surprised it didn't feel so weird for me watching it in this show, but also I'm pretty sure because Cooper Raiff plays a kid really, really well. He captures that immaturity and obnoxiousness a little bit of a small child like that. But this was a show that really hit for me for sure.
I still haven't watched it. I still need to get that movie free trial, or maybe I'll talk to certain individual on this.
Movie's a hard sell unless you're like really interested in taking a deep dive into
Yeah.
like international and like really indie type of stuff. So
Yeah. Alice, your number 10.
It could potentially get punted. I have Pluribus here.
Fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Move on.
my number 9 is Heated Rivalry. And
this is
It's
also
so
my
funny you
number
say
9.
that. Oh, it's so okay. You can't talk spoilers because I have been flip-flopping on whether I watch this because it is, which you would think, Alice, you love romance and you love reading, and this is exactly up your alley. And I've just been like, I don't know, there's just something about it where I'm like, oh, but do I? So go on,
I
talk
will
about
tell you the
it.
reason why I pulled the trigger and wound up watching this over the last couple weeks is because I saw so many people, especially a lot of my friends who are gay, watching this show and eating this up. And then it took me until like 2 weeks ago to find out that this was made by one of the co-creators of Letterkenny. And I'm like, why haven't I been watching this show? So then my wife and I watched all 6 episodes probably within a week. So yeah, go ahead, Mike.
first of all, more shows about hockey, please, because I think hockey is just very underrated. This, I don't know. There's this show to pull a Stefan from SNL. This show for me has everything. It's got hockey. It's got a rivalry between rival players. It's got love. It's got sex. It's got everything that checks a lot of boxes of things that make a great television show. I don't know, like the reason why it's lower on this is because maybe it is a little recency bias, but this show has this show's funny. It's got some like tender moments in it as well. I love the dynamic between the two leads as well. So I know I'm not really doing a good job of selling this to you, Alice, but I feel like like I can't really talk much about it, but I do you like or like because For me, also, like I admitted this to Shane, like I've never seen an episode of Shorzy or Letterkenny. So, like,
No,
to
I haven't seen either of those either. However, if it helps, it's funny because I literally had this conversation not 2 hours ago when we had some friends over for dinner, and my friend brought up the heated rivalry, and we're both big readers, and we talk about the books and stuff that we love all the time. And then she had just finished, and she's not a big like she watches shows, but she had just finished, and I was like, okay, do I watch this? I feel like everyone is talking about this, but and she's like, no, no, just trust. So I've already been convinced. I will watch it. I think there was just something about it that looked off to me, but I am more than happy to I'm convinced. I'm intrigued. She told me a lot about like the fact that there's like even like a really nice B plot in it that kind of helps balance out the angsty A plot as it is. And so yes, I will report back.
That B plot with Francois Arnaud, Scott Hunter really deepened the show in a really an unexpected and impactful way. And this show is hot. Like this is a steamy show, and they don't pull a whole lot of punches in showing how steamy these two young, extremely horny and bit closeted men are in this whole dynamic with each other. And also, like, it has great characters and great supporting characters. Like, I think I told Mike, this felt like gay Shorzy, and that made me so because like I love Jacob Tierney and Derek Kiso as creators. They make interesting characters that also feel like these just could be your weird neighbors or just your neighbors, and they feel so relatable. And when we were thinking about best moments and episodes, the season finale of this like hit me hard. Like I was so invested in this romance. I'm just like, dang, I don't usually get this invested in romances like this. It's so funny because that was one of the reasons why Helen Harper hit so hard too, was because I felt so invested in Lily Reinhardt's love life in that show. But no, this is exactly what people were like clamoring this about, and then some. So, yep, that's why it's my number nine.
cool. Alice, your number nine.
My number nine is actually The Paper. I don't know if anyone else would have this on their
I haven't gotten
list.
around to it because it's on my watch
Yep.
list with my wife, and
Yep.
that's a slow moving watch list.
Not
Yeah, I feel that, Shane. I feel
not
that so deeply.
not on my list. It would have been an
Mhm.
honorable mention, and I'll get to my thoughts after you go.
Yes, so I went in with quite low expectations because I love The Office, as I'm sure millions of people do. And when they were like, "We're going to go back to the world of The Office," I was like, "Don't do that.
Why?
No one wants that. Stop doing that. There are other things you can do." However, I was like, okay, it's like I actually do love a good mockumentary format. And I think, if we continue to talk about In Memoriam until ad nauseum, What We Do in the Shadows was definitely one that I'm like I'm sad that it's gone, but I think it outstayed its welcome, if that makes any sense. Where it's like
Oh
I think
yeah.
it's golden days were the earlier seasons, and I think it kind of just got a little too convoluted. So I'm glad the show kind of didn't outstay its welcome too long.
Right.
But I do really enjoy that format, like particularly that was very big when The Office and Parks and Rec kind of ruled the waves. So I was like, okay, I'll watch it. What's the harm? And so I sat down to watch just the first episode, and then I binged the whole thing in like a day because it is charming. It
Yeah.
is a real charming show. First of all, when they announced Donald Gleason as the main character, I was like, oh, all right, you've gotten someone famous. No, that was impeccable casting.
He
is
commits. He commits. He's so
I
good
was
in
I
that.
was very worried they were going to basically do similar to how between The Office UK and The Office US, they kind of did a bit of a one for one before The Office US found its own footing with its characters. So they, kind of Martin Freeman became like, and his and the character that he has a romance with became Jim and Pam, and like Ricky Gervais's was just Michael, and that's why everyone's like, oh, season one is kind of crap, but like season two is where it really finds its stride because I think Michael really finds his stride as like, oh, he's like that, but he actually has a heart of gold, and that kind of helps push it all forward. And I think I was worried that they were going to just do a 1-for-1 sort of thing here, just in a different setting. But it's different. It's like it's in an office, and it's got the cringe, and it's got all of that humor. But the characters, obviously there's Oscar who's like ported his way across, and that's fine. But like all of the characters, even the way that the, like, I'll say key romance is happening, it's completely unique. And again, I think it's very wholesome and very charming, and like even the like quote unquote villains, of the piece, they have an arc. Like at first you kind of hate them, but it's a very like Abbott Elementary with like Ava and that kind of thing, where it's like, oh, I hate you, but also you are like you're entertaining, and also there is heart. Like these are people with multitudes that I really enjoy. And I remember that final episode, there's this, big culmination, as it were, and even like both in a relationship and a plot sense. And I remember being like, oh, I'm so excited. Like, oh, I'm getting all like invested in these characters. And I had to put it on my list because I did not expect this show to affect me. And I was so upset when I finished it, because I was like, oh, no more. Well, I hope more people watch it because I want more. Like,
Mhm.
and I think because like The Office, I think works so well as a 20 something, like same with, Elementary, like it should have had 20 something episodes. And I think they should have like week by week released it, but they dropped, all 10 or 8 episodes of it all at once. And at least in Australia, they did. And so
They
I
did that
binged
here
it
too.
all. Yeah, there you go. So I binged it all quite quickly, and I'm a bit worried that people might not have watched it, or it's just gonna have too big of a break or something. So I think if maybe they've done this before, where it's like the first season's like 8 episodes, but then they'll expand it for the next season. But yeah, it's very nice. It's just nice to have like a really nice one with like people who are trying and just going to their work, and it's not all overly dramatic. And it captures, I think, the charm of The Office while still being its own thing, which made me very happy.
The last thing that you just said is why I like the show so much, is
Yeah.
that it is not trying to replicate The Office.
No.
It's trying to replicate the feel of it at times while still trying to be its own thing. And I think that's
Mm.
what resonated so much with the show. Plus also a small town print paper
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
you would think that it wouldn't be an interesting subject matter for that, but
Yeah.
they talk a lot about the history of the paper and why journalism still matters. Do you hear that,
Yeah.
United States? Journalism still matters.
Yeah.
So but there's something so earnest about that.
Earnest is a good
Like
word.
the first episode, this isn't too spoilery, but when they go down to see the printing press, it's like
Mm.
like and just the power that bringing information to people, in whatever capacity. I love the dynamic also. It's like the print versus the
The
digital.
digital and the clickbait.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all the clickbaity, like it's hilarious to me. But yeah, just the way that the paper, like the newspaper industry has evolved, kind of just is showcased so well in this. So it's weird because the reason why I kind of was a little bit on the fence about this is because Peacock, they originally were going to release it week to week until they pulled back at the last minute. It's like, we're just going to drop it. It's like, well, that's not a good sign because Peacock only does
Hmm.
that to things that they're not that confident about. But I think Peacock recognized that between this and the first season of Twisted Metal, maybe they should stop doing that because
Yeah.
Twisted Metal got a season 2. Oh God, Shane.
So you know what's interesting is NBC is airing
Oh
this.
God.
So NBC is airing this right now on
Yes,
a
they are.
weekly basis, and it's calling them new episodes.
Yes, I
I have a
hate that.
sinking
I hate.
feeling that this is not going to be a Peacock show anymore, and they're going to shift it to NBC and it be a weekly sitcom because they're in a pretty productive sitcom mode right now because NBC
Mm.
always used to have like great comedy sitcoms with like The Office and Parks and Rec. I have a sinking feeling the paper's not going to be a Peacock show anymore.
I would probably agree with that because beyond the Chicago series, like what does NBC have right now?
St. Dennis Medical.
There is that. So, but
I like that show. That's nice.
I do too, and I think they might pair it with I think they might
Mm.
shift the paper to
Thursday
NBC and do it that way.
Thursday night on NBC, that used to be a thing.
Mockumentary time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, well, plus also, Abbott Elementary is still going strong, and I'm like, I don't want to say that they need competition, but like, hey, come on, spread the love a little bit.
Well, except Abbott Elementary, I feel like it should be winning so much more in the comedy department with award shows. So at least give them the the actual success in terms of viewership in that.
But Alice, we need to award, hilarious comedic show The Bear for multiple seasons. And unfortunately, all these streaming shows with their comedy series, like I'm glad that the one that's been winning the best comedic series has been winning because it's an actual comedy. But we'll talk about that more later on. But The Paper, that's a great pick. I love that show. Looking forward to more of that coming up soon. So
looking forward to watching it.
Yes.
My number 8 is English Teacher season 2 on FX. So English Teacher has the same fate that The Sandman has. The season 2, they renewed it for season 2, and then a lot of the behind the scenes stuff with the creator started to come out. And first of all, it's not good. And if all of that is true, accusations and all of that stuff, on one end, like let the investigation play out, and we'll go from there. At another end, let's believe the people that come forward when it comes to things like this. 9 times out of 10, they're not lying, and the one time that somebody is lying, they're just ruining it for all the people who need to come forward. So, but it's unfortunate that happened, and it was the right call. If all of this is true, yes, absolutely, cancel the show. That does not change the fact that the subject matter of it is just education and the dynamics between so many different things within the education landscape, particularly for a high school. Like I originally kind of dubbed this as like this is like more high level Abbott Elementary, but I was totally wrong on that, because some of the subject matters that they bring up this year is the first episode they do the drama team wants to put on a performance of Angels in America, and they're like,
that was painful.
None of us
like in a great way.
Oh, in a great way, yes. And none of the kids relate to AIDS, which like it's, first of all, like good for the world, for us, to progress so far with medicine that we don't, like, kids don't see AIDS as like a threat anymore. But the tone deafness of these kids with like, we don't relate to AIDS, we don't think, like, dude, like, come on. So they redo the play and they do something. Instead of AIDS, they do COVID.
One, right?
COVID in America.
COVID, that's
in
right.
America.
That's it.
And it is so bad. It is so horrendous, but the audience gets into it. So between that, just
the AI episode with the bins was friggin' hilarious.
It was so funny. So I cannot deny that the show is still funny. It's got something to say. The characters and the dynamic between student and teacher is way different than it is in Abbott Elementary or like any show. I'm sad to see it go, but if all of the things about the creator are true, it's time. So, but English Teacher season 2, I wanted to pour one out for that. I love season 1. I love season 2. I thought season 2 was not like better than season 1. I would say on par, if not like slightly ahead, but like not light years ahead.
I think it has more memorable episodes. Like even just thinking about it, like there's the episode where they all go to dinner and they spend all that time trying to figure out the
love a dinner party episode of a
well, and also one that again brings in like it brings in a lot of like the weird modern ways you have to kind of get through in modern society, like the whole time trying to figure out if the sister's fiance is gay, and he's like, I'm like 80 20 back.
80-20,
And it's just like, what is
80-20.
that? Yeah. Yeah, and then just it's that whole thing, and then you've also got the whole episode with the army guy. Like, I feel like there was some real bangers this one.
I felt like it came into its own in the second season,
Mm,
and I had no idea about any of that stuff with the creator because I was wondering why
mm,
this got canceled. Because I felt like
yeah.
FX was in a place where it's recalibrating after a bunch of its really big shows wound up ending. So I was a little surprised I got rid of this, but now I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Once again, people can't just be good people.
People can't just
They
be
ruin
happy
it.
being successful and not doing
I
horrible
know.
things on top of it.
well, FX is also recalibrating to just get ready for another season of Shogun that we're not going to get until 2052. So it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Like for me, like the one episode I want to shout out is the one where the college week episode. If that
Mm,
is if that is not just like, hey, this is the current state of recruiting in higher education right now,
yeah.
with the like guidance counselor guy like just talking like acting like an
Being a
agent.
stockbroker.
Yeah, so I love that episode so much. So yep, English teacher, that is my number 8. Shane, what is your number 8?
The Lowdown. Speaking of it, this show, one, I think Ethan Hawke had a year. Like
Yes,
he
he
had
did.
one of the best acting performances on screen, and then also on the big screen and the small screen.
Mhm.
And I love what Sterling Harjo's doing here, building off of Reservation Dogs, and how this film, I keep saying film, I watch too many movies. How the show has this whole foundational aspect of dealing with indigenous society and community, and how that affects the greater picture of this. But also, I love Ethan Hawke's like he's a journalist. He's also like a little too conceited about things and thinks he's a little bit better than everybody else. But then, keep messing up and getting his ass kicked and
Mhm.
having all these like different dynamics and getting in caught up in this big conspiracy. And that's a great supporting cast with Keith David and Kyle MacLachlan. Kyle MacLachlan is working so consistent right now on even just on television and stuff like that. And even Tim Blake Nelson, who literally his character dying is the whole entire crux of the show, and how they incorporate him back in throughout. It's really got me. I felt invested in the personal life of Ethan Hawke's character and was really intrigued by this bigger conspiracy that threads in a lot of really uncomfortable current events issues, including like crazy like alt-right religious organizations as well and stuff like that. This has a lot of layers to it. I'm really looking forward to more of his shenanigans in future seasons with this.
Has it already gotten renewed?
Here's to hoping. I don't know.
No.
I feel like I'll occasionally just hop on Yahoo and just see like this show's been canceled. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
so
that's
I'm hoping that this can be Harjo's next show, building off of Reservation Dogs ending. So hopefully it gets more seasons.
if we were to pick a, winner, loser, and then if you were to talk about like a secret third category, it's like, what's going on here? FX would probably be the one that I would pick for that because FX had a really quiet year this year. Between
Mm.
they had English teacher, adults, which I enjoyed, but I don't think it's going to get a second season, but we'll.
I just watched that. I just
Oh,
finished
I
that
don't know.
literally 2 days ago.
It was pretty popular when it was coming out. It was like all over my social media.
So then the lowdown, and then for me, Dying for Sex is probably the one show that I think FX did this year that I was like, this was really good. But that's really it. Like, I think the days of American Horror Story, like being, talk about overstaying its welcome. Like we're
Hmm.
we're still doing this, and now we're doing American Horror Stories. Cool. But we haven't gotten an American crime story in a while. We haven't gotten I don't know how many more American sports stories we're gonna do. They're gonna do a love story one about Jackie, or like not Jackie Kennedy, John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carola. I don't know, but they're gonna do stuff like that. It's like, how much money can
Franchise that
FX?
needs to end.
Yeah,
That
Mhm.
100%.
we haven't gotten another season of Feud recently. Like FX pretty much has like invested 2/3 of its production budget on Ryan Murphy stuff. It's like, what are we doing? But
Yeah, and
I
he's
thought that's
just over on
Netflix's
Netflix,
job.
like la la la. Yeah.
then I'm just gonna do the same thing on Netflix and still get tons of money. And
Yep.
so
Good for that guy and
And
his
now
hustle.
he's gonna do discount the substance on where's that going? The one with Ashton
I think
Kutcher?
FX. I think
Is that FX?
the Beauty. I think the
Yeah,
based on that comic book series. Yeah,
yeah.
Oh my.
yeah. So
Yeah, with Evan Peters. Yeah, on Hulu. Yeah,
oh,
FX.
Hulu,
FX
Hulu.
and FX Hulu on Disney Plus. That's what it
Well,
says
yeah,
on the poster.
yeah, because it's just going to be FX on Disney Plus soon. Because Hulu's
Yeah.
going away when they gave a date, right?
They gave a date. It was supposed to be by the end of the year, but
Oh no,
Alice.
I think they said the beginning of February. Like they gave a specific date recently.
Okay, I'll believe it when I
Fair.
see
That
when I see
is
it.
a
But
fair point.
Alice, you just said like that's the most like 2025 thing to say about streaming right now. FX on Hulu, or FX with Hulu on Disney Plus. It's like,
Yeah.
cool. That kind of harkens to the days of like, hey, you're now watching the Discovery, like Discover Chick-fil-A Bowl brought to you by Taco Bell,
Yep.
ESPN vibe. So great. This is, anyways. Okay, so Alice, your number 8.
8. Yes. I have to stay with one of my favorites that's on my list every year. It's Only Murders in the Building, the newest season. It always gives me exactly another show which comes back every year. Somehow, some of the biggest stars in Hollywood manage to make time in their schedule look, Selena Gomez is a busy gal, okay? And then look, Steve Martin and Martin Short, like they're older, maybe they have a bit more time, but they're big, like very, very popular. And then not to mention the fact that the cast always seems to have like who is currently some of the most famous people right now. We will get them in the season. And every time the mystery at the center, the murder at the center is really, really fun. This time you had Christoph Waltz, Renee Zellweger, and Logan Lerman eating up that scenery. It was so much fun. And I love the billionaire storyline and the whole idea of like your podcast getting absorbed and by a big company and like, kind of what happened there and like it's just every season you're like, oh, okay, well, let's see how they do. And again, Meryl Streep always managing to like make space for this. She's in quite a few episodes this time around. And, like when they got, I know that Martin Short and Meryl Streep are together in life, which I do adore that is like happened because of this show. But the fact that she is continuing to be a regular character, even popping in this scenario, like it's so enjoyable. It's a show about murder, but it's so nice. And you're going to be like really satisfied at the end with kind of how they resolve what happens. And then also adding to all of that, you're always like, okay, what's going to be the thing that they twist for the next season and how they ended this season in terms of like showing what they're looking to do next season. It's enjoy. I love the show. It's a great show.
I loved Bobby Cannavale and
Yeah.
like
And Tia Leone, and their
Yeah.
sons were hilarious.
So funny. And Bobby Cannavale, what a great husband for
Yeah.
Rose Byrne going to Jersey to go pick up a.
I know. They're
That's
both
hilarious.
just doing very funny work and then also apparently living their best lives. So good
Yep.
for them.
They deepened the lore of the show too in this season. That was really interesting. Oh, great. Love it. Because they announced they're going to Europe in the next season, or was that real or was that fake?
London.
Yeah.
They're going to London? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I feel like it'll be like for an
European tour.
episode. Yeah, it'll be great. No, I'm looking forward to it.
How many more murders in this building can occur before they're just like,
Well, I mean, even the way
Becomes
they ended
fun
this
after a
season,
while.
yeah.
yeah, even the way they ended this season, it kind of shows how they can like stretch the category, as it were, where it's
And wink
like,
at the camera doing it.
so hey, if Midsummer Murders, this tiny little village has thousands of murders, like we can make it work.
That and Habit Cove, Maine. Like if
Yeah.
Murder She Wrote can still be a thing where they killed literally half the population of this small Maine town, that stuff can happen in this building once a year.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it is New York.
It is New York, and
And
that
they've
is
expanded like the building, you've got the West and the East. Like it's fine. It's
Mhm.
fine. Don't worry about it. They'll make it work.
Don't
I'm
think
enjoying it.
about it, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, this, yeah, that's a situation. As my co-host Nick on Geek Speak Louder Than Nerd say, that's a shut up nerd moment. It's
Yeah.
like just go with it. Just shut up
You
and
get
stop thinking
you
about
get
it.
shut up nerd a lot on the BTB club too.
I brought that one over to them, and that we just recorded, like I said, an episode of Dungeons and Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves, and someone was saying something about how did this happen? I was like, shut up, nerd. Like that is no.
That is a movie where you just shut up, have fun, and don't think about it.
Exactly.
That's because
No,
it's
Anyway.
D&D, and that's the point.
yeah.
Everyone just goes off plan. They go off book. That's the point of D&D, is to
100%.
try and throw the DM off.
The only murders in the building.
Mhm.
I'm, you mentioned the consistency with that, like that and the bear. Like, hey,
Mm.
if they can get, some of the most prestigious people or like the busiest people in Hollywood to
Mm.
make a season every year, like, what's your excuse? No, you
Yep.
don't have one? Then
Wait,
Mhm.
what? Isn't the Bear FX on Hulu too?
I believe so. Yeah.
We didn't even bring that up.
Well,
We're having that whole entire conversation about FX.
Well, maybe there's a reason for that because I'm maybe okay. Never mind. We'll get into that a little bit later. All right. So my number 7 is Death by Lightning on Netflix.
Oh.
When Shane and I talked about this show, it really should be called Sideburns. The sideburns and facial hair, because the A game on that is really good. Production values are great, but if you want to talk about a story that's like, seriously, who gives a shit about the assassination of James Garfield? Like, no, not a lot of people do, because in American history there have been a handful of assassination attempts on presidents, and there have been a handful of successful, unfortunately, assassination attempts. Lincoln and JFK are the two that, like, yep, these are the ones that are, those are the ones that we learn about. And then James Garfield is present as well. So,
Present.
but for me, the thing that resonates about this show is that, number one, it's only 4 episodes, so it's a quick watch. Number two, the performers and all of this are doing such great work. Michael Shannon is great. Matthew McFadden, just so slimy and such a just a great antagonist with this. I'm a sucker for any show that teaches me something different about American history, because I'm a nerd like that. However,
Mhm.
what this taught me two things. One, is that Betty Gilpin can just do no wrong at this point. Betty Gilpin, in a sea of just political men in this show, Betty Gilpin for me is the standout performance in this, without a doubt, as Garfield's wife. But the other part of it is that I hate how relevant this show is now. Like I hate
Mhm.
how, like, particularly in American politics right now, how relevant this is, because there is like, look, if you're gonna quibble about me spoiling something that happened in American history, I'm sorry. But the line that resonates the most with me is, there's a conversation that people are having about, like, did a rival of Garfield, is he responsible for the one that killed Garfield? And one of the other characters said, no, I'm going to venture a guess he's not responsible, but he's responsible for the climate to make this happen. And that to me was like, God damn it. Why are we doing this again? Why are we
Because
doing this
history
again?
repeats itself. Because
people are stupid and forget
if
way
you
too
don't learn
quickly.
from history, you're doomed to repeat it. I don't know how many times people have to tell people that.
Well, in the incredible immortal words of Russell Crowe, people will never learn from history on the press tour of Nuremberg because people forget too easy. And I'm just like, Russell Crowe just plopped that right out there, and it's 100% true, which is really sad, but it's true.
I'm sad now. Shane, you're number 7.
Adolescence.
Puns.
Yep, figured.
Alice, you're number 7.
This is where I have another murder procedural. I guess you could call Only Murders a murder procedural, but this is where I have high potential because I really, really enjoy that show. I'm a bit annoyed that they did the whole mid-season giant multi-month break thing that I'm like, hello, is this 2005? What is happening? Like, why are we doing a part 1, part 2? But look, it came back and it came back because they did like a 12 episode season and now they're doing like a 25 episode season. And then they split it down the middle and we got the second season a year after the first season. So I forgive it. It's fine. Like I had plenty of other things. I was just disappointed because I really enjoy this show. I think it's really again, it's funny to say this about something to do with murder, but it's really wholesome and enjoyable. And what I really love, and I want to call out, obviously, yes, it's really fun watching smart people. It's like competency porn, which this isn't the last time I'm going to use that word when I'm talking about the shows this year, but it is really enjoyable just watching people who are super smart do things and figure things out, and having that be, obviously a high potential, intelligent person like the character at the center is always going to be enjoyable, especially because she's got the whole underdog element behind her. But what I really, really enjoy about this show is I enjoy even her family, and that is a little storyline where it's no, she has a good life. She's not depressed and drinking and oh, no one understands. But she has, 3 kids. They're all relative, for everything that's happening, relatively well adjusted, and they all support each other. She has a great relationship with her ex who co-parents with her and in fact is able to look after her kids when she's not home now that she's working with the police. And that little, even when there are dramas between, say, her and her teenage daughter, they get sorted like a real mum and child would. And it's just and then on the side, you get to watch her just solve crimes and be super duper smart. And so I'm so excited every time there's a new episode. It's one of those ones where it's oh, I'm going to sit down and watch this, oh, I get my treat for the week.
My question is she a bird? Sorry.
A rare network show that I guess the paper kind of counts as a network show, but it started on a streamer. But no, that's a good call out. It is a show that it's on the list for me. Unfortunate most network shows are, because I'm intrigued, but we've talked about this at nauseam.
It's what you expect. It's a fun murder procedural. It's really just, and it's a good palate cleanser, but it's obviously the plot's nothing crazy. You're not missing out on the cultural consciousness by not watching it. But it also means you can get to it and just binge it later on and you'll be totally fine.
Nice.
Caitlin Olsen being in it was probably the biggest intriguing thing to me since, she literally has been on It's Always Sunny for how long?
A million years. Yeah.
And then Honored made this, which is really interesting. Now, it's not what I would expect to see from a Drew Goddard show, but no, it's I do watch a lot of network television. Usually I lean more towards the 30-minute block ones because, they're easy to pop in and watch for 22 minutes, but I'm definitely interested in this one for sure.
I mean, if it helps, the episodes aren't longer than 40 something minutes.
No.
They're not.
And that's the nice thing about network television hour
40
blocks, because they're actually 40 minutes. I don't have to sit there for an hour and 17 minutes to watch an HBO premiere.
Exactly.
Something like that.
I'm quibbling about something that's 40 minutes when our Stranger Things season or series finale was 2 hours
2 hours
and
and 5 minutes.
Look,
Yeah.
there's a reason I literally still haven't seen the new season of Stranger Things because I'm just like, oh, I'll get to it. I just can't be bothered right now. It's too long. Yeah.
My wife got super invested in making sure that we watched it. We even stopped our Golden Girls binge on New Year's Eve to watch the finale of Stranger
Wow.
Things. So it didn't get spoiled. So there you go.
Never mind. I'm not going to say anything about that. How
What
dare
was it, the
you?
Golden Girls binge? Because that's what my wife and I do every New Year's Eve.
No, no, no.
So
My like if I were you, I would have kept watching Golden Girls, but the
I enjoyed the finale. Apparently a
I,
lot more than most people. So
I enjoyed the last 45 minutes of the finale, but we'll talk about that another time. My number 6 is Task on HBO. Or is it HBO Max? No, I think it's HBO proper for that one.
oh yeah,
So
it aired on HBO. This got squeaked out of my top 10 by Heated Rivalry.
so when Shane and I talked about this before, it is the most aggressively Philly show that I have in my top 10. But I think the thing that kind of resonated with me with this show is that it's kind of taking like a crime procedural show and kind of flipping it on its head a little bit because it's a special FBI task force. And if they can pump out one of these like once a year with Mark Ruffalo, Mark Ruffalo is a great task leader, but he's also got a lot of personal dynamics going on. He's not like the most physically gifted FBI agent either. But for me, what sells this is just the people that they're investigating. They're really good. What's her name? That she was in Coda. She was also in The Running Man.
Amelia Jones.
Yeah, she was fantastic in this. And then even like the whole investigation about this biker gang, which first of all gives me Sons of Anarchy vibes to no end. But I really enjoyed that as well. But like it's beautifully shot as well. Just the countryside of Philadelphia that looks very
At
pristine.
Delco.
Oh, okay. And even just like the internal affairs stuff with the drama within the task force is interesting as well. I don't know. I this one just hit really hard for me, so I liked it a lot.
I thought Tom Pelfrey was really strong in this too. The main guy that's like leading the break-ins and stuff
Mhm.
like that. I knew from the first scene of this show when Mark Ruffalo was like, "Let's go down to Rita's and get some water ice," and I'm just like, "They got that Delco down." Brad Inglesby, I really like what he's doing over on HBO between this and Mare of Easton and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
this was really engrossing and this was like a random 7 episode, right? 7 episode show.
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
They aired the finale of this at the Philly Film Festival. That's how big this was in this area.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So Tom Pelfrey, I don't know what it is about him. Like, I cannot get it out of my head that, oh, you are an Iron Fist. And like I can't take you seriously right now, even though he
Wow.
has got more than enough credits. Like I'm taking a look, like he did amazing work in Ozark. He was in Love and Death. He's in this. That is more than enough to wash out the stink of Iron Fist. In my head, it's not. And like
Yeah.
it's so stupid. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. However,
Yeah.
I cannot like he does phenomenal work in this. I will say that. Okay. Uh, Shane, you're number 6.
So I got Andor season 2.
And,
Yeah, punt.
Figured
Alice, you're number 6.
My number 6 is Department Q on Netflix.
This is just on the outside looking in.
Yeah,
Top 10.
another, well, I guess crime procedural, I'll say. My best friend recommended it to me at the start of the year, and I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. And then one day I was like, you know what? All right, because she just moved to Edinburgh, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, and then I'll see like where she lives now. And it was, talk about a show where the first episode ends and you're like,
Oh,
oh, that's not what I thought was going to happen, because it builds up in a way where you just think. So wait, have we all seen this show then?
I
Okay.
have, yeah.
Okay. All right. Because you nodded your head a bit there, Shane. So I was like, oh no, you haven't seen it.
I
Okay.
have not watched it. So
All right. Yeah. I was gonna about, which is good I asked, because I was like, oh, better not spoil the way. But I'll just say the first episode definitely has an element where it's like, oh, I feel like this is what's gonna happen, and then it's gonna connect these dots, and then it ends, and you're like, not only am I
Nope.
intrigued because it does the like setup well,
Mhm.
but it also takes the story in a way that I was like, oh, okay, and then I again proceeded to binge the whole thing because I was like, I need to know what happens. It's one of
Mhm.
those where it's like I desperately need to know what the answer is,
Yep.
essentially. And it is satisfying, and I want there to be more. I believe they're getting a season
I
2.
believe so.
It's very slow horses in that way, where I'm just like, oh, it's just, again, it's
yeah,
the
IMDb
competency
says
porn.
2027 it'll come out.
Hey,
Like, why? But okay.
maybe it'll be like very start of 2027, and then, because I don't know, just at least 2 years. I'll take it if it's a max, honestly, at this point. Like, but it is again, you've got the competency porn element there, where it's just like, oh, these people are smart, know what they're doing. Particularly, obviously, Matthew Goody is excellent in it, but I do want to shout out, part of his team is made up of a recent Syrian. I don't remember if he's a refugee or an immigrant,
Believe he
but
might be a.
anyway, someone from Syria who's just recently come over and basically doesn't have necessarily the legal ability to continue on with police work because his qualifications aren't recognized. But he ends up on this team regardless. He's played by Alexei Manvalov. His name is Akram Salim.
Akram.
He is so awesome. He's such an awesome character. I love him so much. I can't wait to see more. This was a great show.
He's got such a calming voice and a calming presence about him. But
not to mention he's just good at what he does.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, I love this.
So whether it is the investigative his investigation skills, but also his physical gifts as well.
Physical skills.
Like, oh, I've got a certain set of skills. Like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Like, the team, it's a quirky team, and that's kind of what I like
love
about
those
this.
though. I love a good quirky team where it's like everyone has this. They're just a bit too much for it's again the slow horses effect, where it's like they're too much for everyone else, but they work for a reason, and they will get the job done better than anyone else.
Well, and then you mentioned that first episode, Alice, where the ending is like, oh, okay, this changes everything about the show. I also want to shout out the beginning as well. Like, what a way to start the show, where like you go in for like a routine checkup on somebody, and it turns out not to be anything like that. Yeah, it
keeps you on your toes, this one. Even there are certain story turns that happen with certain characters, and where you're just like, oh, this whole time. And I'm just, again, it's just, it's got enough there where it's like, even when you're like, okay, I think I understand what's happening here, you do not understand what's happening here, and it's great.
Yeah, great pick. Again, just on the outside looking in, Shane, this is definitely one. Just to keep it on the watch list.
Watch. Yeah. Although apparently you have a couple years for season 2, so watch it at some point this year.
Yeah, I have time.
Yeah.
My number 5 this is where I have Pluribus.
Okay.
So
do you have it higher?
I also have it at number 5. So there we go.
There you go.
Well, Alice, since you had it on your list first, right? So
yeah,
why don't you go ahead and kick off the pluribus?
I mean, it's intriguing, isn't it, as a show? And it's definitely not one for the impatient, I guess is the word, where it's like, this is a sci-fi show, but it's way like all the way. If science fiction is a spectrum, it is all the way on the left of high concept, where it's like it is science fiction in name, but it's more about the human at the center. And am I am very annoyed that Vince Gilligan's like, yeah, I'll get to a season 2 eventually. I'm not in a rush. I'm like, well, then you shouldn't have done a season 1. What do you mean you're not in a rush? What does that mean? Like, you don't even gonna give us a date? Like, especially because of how you finished season 1. You can't just do that. But I have to say it has some obviously the like I mean I'm sure you guys are going to say it, but like the writing's impeccable. The shot construction in this show and the color grading, like even the fact that like such a random detail, but like with Apple TV Plus, the subtitles are yellow instead of white. Like it's like details like that go beyond the show itself just to kind of show the, I guess, or illustrate the encompassing nature of what happens with with all the people in and like what's happened to them and kind of how the world peace was achieved. But I have to say, like, it has one of the most heartbreaking but also really defining scenes of television for me of 2025, which is the beginning of the final episode, where it kind of shows you where it's like the death of culture for the purpose of community, and kind of like what these others, I guess you could say, what it means. And how it's like, just because you're not technically lying doesn't mean you're telling the truth, and also you're not doing something wrong. Like, and just because something is like, there is a beauty to the individuality and the magic of humanity, and this is kind of like breaking that apart. And yeah, I'll let you guys talk a little bit, but yeah, it's a fascinating show.
Go ahead, Shane.
I obviously I mentioned I love Rhea Seehorn's performance in this. She can be so cantankerous, but also like I I would be her.
Yeah,
Like I would
yeah.
100% be that person. So I'm just
Especially
like,
after what happens to Helen. Like, yeah, you'd
oh,
be upset.
Right.
I'm like 100%. I'm like, I am not like this show is like one of like part of my this hits a worldview of mine so perfectly where I'm like, I wouldn't be okay with this. This is 100% not okay. And that character is so relatable. And those last couple episodes with Reese Seahorn and Caroline Wydra together, and I felt so conflicted and so connected. And I'm just like, this could only end terribly, but I like so much want this to work out for Carol, but this is not going to work out for Carol. And then there's some rug pull moments in that last episode that are just like gut wrenching. And then, yes, the fact that I really hope we don't have to wait too long for next season, because just the literally last thing that happens in that last stuff, I'm like, that changes the game like completely.
Yep.
And just the whole entire idea of the slow peeling back of just how deep the ramifications are of the infiltration of these entities that are taking over Earth. And it's just like, this is such a right turn for Vince Gilligan as a creative, because like this is nothing like, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, but like there's something really interesting and special about this.
Goes back to his roots on the X-Files, right? So that's, I think, the thing that I think gets me the most about this is that this feels, speaking of relevance at this point, about how, like, particularly like in the United States and all these like autocratic places or like wannabe dictatorships, it's like we the collective, like it's all about us. It's like, no, it's all about like a particular part of us. Like you're just trying to, like in this case in the US, just whitewash everything. Great, cool. Thanks for that. The beauty of anyway. So
But I mean, it's also even looking at things like more global, like I know that Vince Gilligan's tried to be like, no, it's not about that, but I'm like, it's kind of about like the
It's
whole
kind of
rise of
about that.
yeah, the rise of AI and like specifically how it's attacking the creative industry,
Mhm.
and how it's like, yeah, except eventually you're just going to start cannibalizing your own like cannibalization essentially, and it's just going
Mhm.
to be slop. And look, you can already see the effect it's having on the brains of people,
Mhm.
because the whole point, it's like I read an article about how like the effect of the way video games work now for kids is dramatically affecting their ability, like cognitively, because games nowadays like aren't like what we used to play, like Zelda and Mario and that, where it's like you used to get stuck on a game in the 90s and then you had literally no way out except to figure it out. And the idea of becoming comfortable with boredom and frustration and trying again and again and again and again isn't there in video games nowadays as much. And so it's not allowing that ability. And I mean, they say like, creativity and like the spark of that stuff, it comes from the moment of frustration and individuality and the negative, in a way. And I think that this show is even in this first season kind of explores that, where it's like it has to be so intentional that she is a writer, like she is a creative. She's not a scientist that can like fix this, as it were. And so it's going to have to be figured out in a different way.
I think one of my favorite parts of this show, it's not like these big moment. Like the first episode is really great. It gives me a little bit of
Mm.
The Last of Us or Lost vibes where like you're
It's
not
a
really
little bit
sure what's.
gross, but then yeah.
Oh yeah.
All the
Yeah.
licking.
All the licking and the, consent. But
Yeah.
yeah, but just the way that this starts and just how things devolve so quickly.
Mm.
But for me, the quieter moments are the ones that I enjoy the most. Like one of my favorite moments, it's in the grenade episode where Carol is at the hospital and some guy is just
Mm.
like, do you need anything? And she's like, why'd you give me
Mm.
the grenade? And he's
Yeah.
like, you asked me for it. Well, if I asked for another one, would you give it to me? Yes. Well,
Yeah.
what if I wanted an atom bomb? It's like, well, we'd weigh the pros and cons and blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, I think we'd answer yes. She's like, that's stupid. That is
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
stupid.
Well,
Like, we just want you to be happy. It's like, no, you don't get it. And
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
just
it's the whole
those,
food thing
and
too, where it's like they're literally like the starvation that's going to happen because of the food element.
yeah.
and that hits on AI so perfectly because AI is designed to affirm, and that's
Mm.
it. It just says
Mm-hmm.
yes, and which is why people are having trouble using it as
Disconnecting.
therapists. People trying to use that as therapists, and lawsuits with assisted suicides
Yeah.
that are happening because like
Yeah.
this show hits on a lot of
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable, interesting layers for sure.
Yeah. Let's hope that we get it in a timely manner, but whatever, man, the creative
We
process
shall
takes.
see. Yeah.
We shall see. All right. So that was mine and Shane's number five. Alice, what's your number five?
My number five is a classic of the Alice genre, Percy Jackson season two. There were a couple episodes that came out in season two in
How
2025, so it
how
counts.
many how many episodes in did you get before you decided to put this on your top five of 2025?
Well, are you asking me how many episodes I watched before I was like, oh, I have to include this, or how many episodes were in 2025 and I was like, yeah, good enough.
The fir-
Like in that
the
those
first
specific episodes.
The first
Okay.
one.
the first question.
I would say 5 episodes in,
Okay.
and then I was like, I'm really, because basically I didn't watch them in 2025, but I like waited because I
Disqualified.
want, yeah.
No. No, you're all good.
But I waited because I wanted to watch a few at once. And I have to say, again, I've read the book, so I'm, aware of kind of what happens in the story. And I was annoyed with how long this took. 2 years is apparently, it's still ahead of the curve. It's just like, you're so much older. You're meant to be 13. You are 13. But once you ignore that
He's a
part.
man.
Yeah, but once you ignore that part, the thing is, at one point they're just going to hit an A. It's just so funny because in this season they reach like they bring up there's this prophecy, and the prophecy centers around something happening when Percy turns, or when the person at the center of the prophecy turns 16. That's inferred to be Percy in this season, and it's like that's it. Like that's the big MacGuffin of the series that ends with the final book, book 5. And I was like, yeah, the 16-year-old 3 seasons from now. Like, you know what I mean?
Great,
But I do
great.
think they're working on it faster, where it's like the writer's room's already active for season 3. They're already working on it. Like they've already cast and like gotten a lot of that work done. Like Kate McKinnon and all that, like they're not in this season. They're going to be in the next season. So I think we should maybe get like, maybe we'll even get it at the end of this year. So keep everything crossed. Having said all of that, I think with the first season, I think they were definitely finding their bearings, particularly because this is a more common, like people knew the first one a lot more. We had the movie, you know, it was definitely a let's find what our footing is. The footing has been found and it is going so well with season 2. It is so well made. I'm so happy with it. There are obviously been changes with the story, with obviously with Rick Riordan being one of the main creators, like his blessing, but it works. It works for the television element of it, and I have to say, like Walker Scobell is doing an impeccable job as Percy. But then there's this new character introduced. His name is Tyson, and he is everything I hoped he would be. He is just the most wholesome, wonderful, amazing character. And not to mention as well that I really enjoy Leah Savage Jeffries as Annabeth. I think she's again, I think that everything's kind of coming into it this season where it's like, oh, I see I see why you made these decisions in the casting and in the way you're telling the story and that sort of thing. And it makes me really excited for the new seasons. So, plus, it's just an awesome fantasy story and people should watch it.
I'm holding off watching this because my daughter is kind of through the first book, so she is,
Mm,
she's trudging along with it. And I told her that she wasn't allowed to watch the show until she finished the book.
okay.
She's like, I want to watch the movie. I'm like, no,
No,
you're gonna watch the
don't.
TV show instead.
Yeah, watch the TV show.
And it's the same thing with this one. Like setting aside the fact that yes, the cast looks noticeably older.
Yeah.
Wasn't this supposed to come out in February? What happened?
Was it?
February of
Did they
this
just
year.
bring it up?
Well, I thought originally that this was supposed to come out in February of 2020. No, 2025. Because like that's originally
Oh.
when I had it, and then they pushed it back. So
Oh, I very much doubt that because the first season only finished airing in Oh, yeah, 2025. I reckon I'm wondering if maybe they took because no, the first season finished airing in January of 2024. And then I think what happened was potentially they decided to jumpstart their work for season 3 and then push this one as a result. So we got a delay with this one, but then hopefully that means we don't get a delay with the rest.
Here's the hope.
fingers crossed.
That's the hope.
on
Yeah.
that.
This is still one of my favorite book series.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've been so excited about this show, and it's definitely delivering. I'm enjoying. This is going to wind up being on my 2026 list. But Timothy Simons, God, I hate him so much in the show on those first couple episodes, and like Rosemary DeWitt popping up as Cece, like Polyphemus, like some of these things just really delivered that I
Oh,
was
so
super
good.
excited to see and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Cool.
Even there's a whole bit with the sirens, and it's just like, it's very, very good. It's very, and
that was really well done.
The thing with Percy Jackson is it has actually a very classic, like very obviously slow burn because of the ages and everything, but like Annabeth and Percy are one of the great romances of like young adult literature. And Walker Scobell is he's doing so well in the yearning and his just like it's exactly what you want where you're like, yes, he is so, he is this character. He is Percy. The whole thing with Percy is his loyalty and the way he will like go too far for the people he loves and his friends. And you're just like, oh, I love it. I love it.
Awesome stuff. My number 4, not much of a spoiler to say that my top 4 have not changed since the beginning of the year. So unless you're keeping track, a lot of this is repeat. That just goes to the strength of, like, I still maintain that television the first half of the year had a better go of things as opposed to movies. But whatever, it's fine. But my number 4 is The Studio on Apple TV
That is
Plus.
also my number 4.
Oh, nice.
So
I haven't watched it yet. It's on my list. I will get to it
it's gonna
soon.
be an
This
easy
is on.
watch, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mhm. If you are a fan of film at all or
Yeah.
Hollywood, this has a lot of great comedy. This has a lot of great concepts. This, talks about so many different buzz things when it comes to Hollywood, like the, just getting the one shot done, and then, just award show prestige and why it's stupid. And like one of my favorite, like this has cameos galore in it. Like, don't get me wrong, like Seth Rogen and team are amazing in this, and I love the dynamic between all the members of the team. But I think for me, the cameos are what really sells this. Like Martin Scorsese is amazing in this cameo. For me,
Yeah.
my favorite cameo, Ron Howard, without a doubt. It's
Hmm.
Ron Howard. And they talk about things like creative liberties and different things like that. But between Ron Howard, Zoe Kravitz, like so many people are doing amazing work here. The writing is just so smart. And Seth Rogen and Apple, that's a partnership that, like, hey, keep pumping stuff out, because between this and Platonic, keep doing it because it's good stuff. Now that The Boys is ending this year, please, like, Apple, just lock this guy up and just have him just pump out shows for you, because he's doing great work. I'm loving the Seth Rogen producer behind the scenes creative era that he's in right now.
Absolutely. And it looks like supposedly the next season's coming out this year, 2026. So look at that.
Ooh, well,
They could
and
do
Seth
it.
Rogen said that there's stuff that's happening during the awards, like a run they've been on, that they have directly written down and put in the show. So
There you go. But like, yes, the core cast of Seth Rogen, Catherine O'Hara, Mike Barinholtz, Chase Sui Wonders, and Catherine Hahn are great. And then you have like the layers of like the Bryan Cransons who are playing characters that are recurring characters. No, like the Olivia Wildes, the Zoe Kravitz, the Martin Scorsese and Ron Howard roles are so fantastic playing themselves. And that whole Wonder episode was such a delight to watch, for sure. And they get up to some crazy shenanigans by the end of this season. And it is a very biting commentary on studio Hollywood today. And, that Kool-Aid thing. Kool-Aid thing is fantastic.
It's so good, and I don't know, it's hilarious because that Kool-Aid, that whole conversation about Kool-Aid, that is exactly what we were worried about after Barbie.
Mhm.
And it's like you are just
Hot Wheels?
manifesting all of our fears right now with
We're
this.
getting that Hot Wheels movie.
Who knows?
Mhm.
Maybe it will be a biting commentary on the auto industry. Maybe they're gonna have conflict between a diesel or a petrol or an electric
cars.
vehicle, and then the poor hybrid vehicle in the corner being like, nobody remembers me anymore.
Mm.
I don't know. Like, maybe they have something like that up their sleeves, or it's going to be the Fast and the Furious for kids. Who knows? Who knows? But
Who knows? Or just
um,
Cars rip off.
if it's
You didn't
that,
think about that one, did you, Mike?
no, I didn't, because I try to. I have 2 girls, but they're both like, cars. We're good. No, thank you. Like even like during watching the second Cars, they were both like, "This is dumb." I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. All right. So, Alice, your number 4.
My number 4 is Paradise. I don't
Just
know one else. Cool.
just on the outside looking in, but we, I think
Yeah.
we both seen it. Yeah, like
Have
Shane,
you seen it, Shane?
I have not seen it.
Oh, damn,
Oh,
damn.
yeah, I know. Okay, I will speak on it briefly because I do think it is. I went in knowing very little. I don't even know why I was even that intrigued by it. I think like I'd watched Sterling K. Brown on Graham Norton, and he just said some like he just said like I think Graham said then like, oh, that first episode, I never, and he's like, yeah, no, like that's the thing about it. And I was like, okay, I mean, fun presidential like assassination plot. Yeah, okay, why not? I'll chuck it on. Oh my God. I was so relieved that I had because I'd waited so long, I had the whole show to watch. And so I was able to just be like, I need to know what happens immediately. But I think the characters in it are also really great. Like they all not what you all of them are not what you expect, and they all contain so many different levels of dimension. Yeah, I think it has one of the best openings to a show in modern history where it's like, oh yeah, but it actually manages to stick the landing and keep it interesting the whole season too, where I'm intrigued. I was intrigued and I'm very curious to see, because yes, this is one of the shows that I was like, look at this, 1 year for this show that has an element of, like high production requirement, and somehow they've managed to come back a year later for a season two, where there I think is going to need to be a significant uptick in production requirement. I'm very curious to see how they continue this storyline. So Paradise.
Very curious about that as well. The main thing that sold this for me, and the reason why I started watching it, was Sterling K. Brown, because he is slowly but surely become must-see television for me, or must-see movies as well, because he's starting to dip his foot more and more into movies. But I will watch anything that he is in. He's phenomenal in this. I think the standout performance is Julianne Nicholson as Sinatra.
Oh yeah.
Who that she's up to something, and then when you find out what it is, it's like, oh, this came from noble intentions at first, and now
it's about the warping of humanity. It's great. I love it.
So this has a lot to say about tough choices that need to be made, and how you can have the greatest plans for something, but they're not going to go the way that you expect. James Marsden is actually he's great in this too, and it's all great stuff. With what happens at the end of season one, this is pretty high up there in terms of wanting to see what happens in season two. So I'm very much looking forward to this. And also shout out to the music as well, because slow acoustic versions, or like slow, sad, depressing versions of like 80s classics. Love it so much. It's the soundtrack to this is phenomenal. Like there's a scene where they do Another Day in Paradise by Phil Collins. It's great. Not so much the one about that they do for Eye of the Tiger, but whatever. It's fine. Yeah. It's all good. Okay.
Some good needle drops for sure.
My number 3 is The Pit.
Punt.
Okay. Shane.
My number 3 is The Last of Us season 2.
Really?
This is still almost a year later, and I'm still hurt. I legitimately can't deny how engrossed I was still watching the show, and how much of an emotional impact the show had on me. That second episode just killed me. And you'll remember my wife staring over at me, knowing that I didn't know what was going to happen. And this is one of those big frustrations of these shows not coming out every year, because the way this season ended, I'm just like, and also how supposedly season 3 is going to go. I'm like, how long am I going to have to wait to figure out what the hell's going to happen? But even like the whole episode, one of my favorite episodes too is that whole episode where we really get the bridge between them and all of what has happened in the years since the first season. And I know a lot of people, this was a big step down because it didn't feel like a whole season of a show, but I was still very invested and really appreciated like the growth of some of these characters, and kept me on my toes for sure. I have no idea, still don't know how I'm this close to looking up how the rest of this game goes, because I don't know if I can handle waiting to find out what happens, but I've made it a year without looking it up, so maybe I can make it some more until, 5 years from now when this show's finally resolved after the fourth season.
Cool, cool. I'm so glad that you liked like this season still resonated with you. And when we talked about this before, you could probably play the video game multiple times before the season
Oh, I
comes
know.
out. Because yeah,
Yep.
it is a
I'm too
what
busy playing Madden 26, Mike.
oh that's the reason why you're busy. It's not like you've got a full-time job and you're, going to movies every chance that you get.
Yeah, it's
Very nice.
Madden.
Oh no, if I play video games at this point, it's much more something I could just like play around with and have some fun with. Like I can't commit to like wholly like sitting there and like playing a game like that. So I'll
There's
wait and not look up on Wikipedia.
there's there's a reason why at the end of the day, my one of my favorite games of all time is always going to be Tetris. Just something mindless
Mhm.
that you could just, play around. Problem solving. There. It's a dying skill, right? So
It's very
um,
clear I'm on an island here, but that is what it is. So
it's all good. All good. Alice, you're number three.
Hasn't changed since the start of the year. It's still Severance season 2, even
Mm,
though gosh knows when we'll get season 3.
mm.
But this one ended just as chaotically as the first one in a way that made me be like, ah, when it ended. But also, what I do appreciate is that it did actually answer some of the questions we had after season 1. It just then presented a whole bunch of new ones, which I'm like, look, fine, if you're going to do this, at least answer and solve a lot of these things that I was wondering about between season, and then give me new things I'm going to want to solve when it comes to see the next season. So performances are amazing, concepts fantastic. Has Ben Stiller said how many seasons he envisions this as being? Like, has this got like a plan behind it? Because I don't know, I can see this
This,
potentially becoming a like it outstays its welcome thing, but I'm very, I think especially in this day, like with kind of its position in this day and age, I can see this becoming, if it's done tightly and well crafted as it has so far, something amazing as a completed set.
there's a small part of me that worries that each of these like each of these shows, there always feels like there's a jump the shark moment where it's like,
Mm.
whoa, this okay. Like I'm wondering if like you chose this path because you couldn't think of anything better, or if this was the plan all
Mm.
along. And to me, this gives me vibes that we're gonna get a jump the shark moment, and I'm gonna be like, oh. And
Yeah.
that's really gonna bum me out because for all the questions that were answered, my big question still remains, which kind of irks me a little bit, is like, what on earth is this company doing? Like,
I feel like
I,
that's something we're not going to find out for a little while. That feels like the big final question.
right. And that's fine because I'm still being entertained by the show. It does kind of bum me out that that final episode, the conversation that Adam Scott has with the camcorder, wasn't enough to get
Mm.
him across the finish line for best actor because
Yeah,
I thought that scene alone solidified it. And
it's crazy.
then I watched the pit and I was like, oh
Oh, I
wait.
get it.
But the end of this, there's a lot going on in that ending where I'm like, who I'm very curious to see what happens from here. And I still maintain that every company, every organization, every group of friends should have a choreography and merriment group. Like everyone needs
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So,
Yeah. And a Trammell Tillman.
oh
Like,
yes, Trammell Tillman. Just the acting is still really on point with this. There's a lot of
mm-hmm.
storylines that I'm waiting to see what happens with it,
Yep.
and still rooting for John Turturro and his situation a lot. So I don't know. Well,
this is also another show that felt like this was so long ago.
I
Um,
know.
this is a long year
Yep.
in many ways, but this show is so fascinating. And even if like from what I recall from my experience, there were some episodes that didn't quite hit for me, but as an overall package, this is still just such
Mm.
a fascinating experience. And it scratches that same itch because my favorite show of all time, still Lost.
Mm.
Just like I like a show that
Mm-hmm.
has looming questions and keeps you guessing. And, I don't know if I'm the minority here. Like, I don't feel like I need to know what this company does until the end. Like, isn't that the point of the show?
I
Like,
just want some things to get answered here and there. Like, I just want there to be progress. I just assume we're not going to find out what the company's doing until the final episode.
but like the cast of this is incredible too, and
Mm.
such an interesting idea. So I will be, waiting, waiting, waiting
Did
with
you
everybody else.
did you say looming or lumen questions?
Haha!
Very good.
All right. My number two is adolescence. Not a whole lot more to say about adolescence. When you think it's a murder mystery, it's like, nope. It just I I still I still think that the biggest takeaway from this is that I really just like the creative swings that they took with how it was made, all the acting prestige. It definitely deserves it because, and I'm glad that Stephen Graham got a lot of kudos. He's gotten a lot of awards for this. Uh, Allegedly, a follow-up to this is in the works, and I'm wondering what are you going to do with that? But
Mm.
maybe it will address perhaps my biggest glaring thing with this is like, when are we going to talk about the victim more? Because shouldn't we be talking more about that too? Or her? Not that, that's rude. But that to me is the biggest glaring thing about this is like you're talking about the effects that the internet and the manosphere has on boys. You talk briefly about how it affects girls, but you don't. You only see the end result with this girl. That's it. Like there's more of an
I think
effect.
that's part of it. Like, I think that's like, as someone who hasn't seen it, because I am like, I need to me my again, like like with you, Shane, it's like I need to watch this with my partner, and also we're having a boy, so I'm like about the idea of
Well,
watching this.
well,
I think
it's
it means I need to watch it. I'm just like putting it off.
well,
That's all.
Alice. What sucks is that when we like the three of us, like in the States at least, stranger danger was like a big
Yeah.
thing that like they hammered
Yeah.
into our heads when we were in elementary school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those days are gone because now you're much more afraid of the internet, and that
Mm-hmm.
sucks so much.
Mm-hmm.
And as the dad of two
Reach so
girls,
many more strangers that way.
yep,
It
yep,
this
you sure
show
you sure can.
this show is a fascinating quartet of episodes because this does not feel like your standard let's tell us a regular narrative story over the course of this many episodes. Each of these episodes serves a very specific purpose, and each of them deliver on such an impressive and impactful way. The performances feel so raw and
Mm-hmm.
organic and authentic. And I to be fair, Mike, I don't think the purpose of the show is because like the focus of the show is commentating on what led to what happened to this victim and then the ripple effect of that. So like I could see why it's to your perspective on like why didn't we get more about the victim here is like that's not I don't think that's really what the show's supposed to be exploring and commentating on,
I
which
agree.
is fair.
Yeah, it is fair. However, I think that is probably the glaring thing that I know a lot of like there's been a lot of critics and a lot of people who've said that's the one glaring thing about this.
Mm.
And even Stephen Graham has kind of mentioned it's like, yeah, we should have done more, but that's like you mentioned,
Uh,
that's not the
yeah.
story that we were focused on. And I think part of doing a follow-up to this might be addressing that, but we'll see. But again, we don't I think this stands pretty well on its own, but
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
My
Yep.
thing
Just
is
tell a different story.
my thing is if there's a follow-up and it's meant to remedy that, I hope it's out of an organic extending this story and not because they feel bad that they didn't focus on the victim in the first place and then we're just getting some follow-up to it because of backlash to it.
Yep.
Because like these 4 episodes hit like
They hit
like a dump truck running into you.
Mhm.
Like just the way they are. So
Yep, very true. Shane, you're number 2.
Righteous Gemstones season 5, and this will be the last time this is on my list because it's over. And then I'll inevitably wait for Danny McBride's next show on HBO to come out. Like I said, that first episode felt so unique and impactful in the way that it is. Uncle Baby Billy, I think, has solidified himself as one of my favorite television characters in the history of television. I literally just listened to clips of Walton Goggins doing his whole thing, and there's so many more great moments this season. It's like, all I want is 2 million 8 ball and $2 million. And it's just like, is that too much to ask? And there's so many great moments with that. They take Eli on such an interesting journey in this season. John Goodman gets to do probably some of his best acting in this show. And I appreciate where each of these characters grow and where they go to. And that duel between Danny McBride and Stephen Dorff in the finale is one of my favorite moments of television. And it felt so satisfying. And this talks of dark turns. Like, I don't think this show has been this dark since like the first season, like opening episode even of like this series. But like Sean William Scott and Michael Rooker in this were some unexpected elements, and this could have got dark real fast, but it had such a satisfying ending. And this is definitely one of my favorite shows of all time at this point. And it's sad having to, you know, see some of these shows go each year like this, but inevitably it is, unless you're It's Always Sunny, and you'll never end.
It never ends. Yeah, that's good pick for this. The ending was very satisfying, and also just rare moments of like growth from these characters. And yeah,
Like they actually, there's hope that they could actually be decent human beings after this show. And I think that's a nice thing to see after they were so despicable for so long.
True. All right, Alice, you're number 2.
This is where I have Andor.
Puns.
Yes.
Slight pun. Slight. It's like, let's just get into
So
it.
we're going to talk about it
That conversation
right now.
happens now.
It's my number 1. But Alice, you can kick us off.
I mean, we definitely talked about this at length in the first half. So I mean, there's in terms of like that first episode, that part 1 episode, but it was just so good. Like it was just, I didn't want there to be an Andor show, and then I didn't care about season 2 as much because it had been so long between seasons, and I was like, and then I was watching it and I was like, oh yeah, it's good. And then the way it ramps up, particularly in the back half, to the point where I literally put on Rogue One immediately afterwards because I was like, oh my God, I need to see the story continue and finish. And it elevates that movie in such a way, like emotionally, and the characters, like I get it. I get why they made it. Like there was an intention that was served by these 2 seasons, and it's just like, impeccable work. And I hope that if we're going to continue just doing shows in the Star Wars universe, like even though they didn't continue the Acolyte, sadly enough, this was at least also excellent. And I would love more of this sort of thing where it's like, we're going to explore this story for a few seasons. This is the story arc. Let's do it.
Yeah. Like the magic trick that this show pulls, where it's like, look, Star Wars doesn't need Jedis and lightsabers to be interesting. Believe it or not, some of the best stories to tell are just about the rebellion and the hope that the rebellion brings to everybody. It would have been too obvious to say that one of my favorite episodes and favorite moments, just that tandem of what happens on Gorman and then Mon Mothma's speech on the Senate.
Yep.
Right. So both of those, just, I'm not sure Star Wars is going to get any better than this. And I hope that who knows? We're in a new era where Kathleen Kennedy is allegedly on the way out, so we'll see. But Alice, I echo a lot of what you said. I was like, who cares about Cassian
Yeah,
Andor? And then by the end, it's like all of us.
I care.
Mike, I think
Now,
you meant to say Sinander. No, like if I'll this would have been higher on my list if I felt like the first 6 episodes were as dynamic and
mm,
engaging as the last 6 episodes. Because like those last 6 episodes of this season were
Awesome.
like
Yeah.
the best television
But
this year. It
mhm.
was absolutely incredible. And obviously you need to build up to those points, but like I was 100% the same way. I'm like, why are we getting a spin-off for Rogue One with this one particular character?
Yep.
But this show and this season felt like the payoff of the fact that, Star Wars came out in a post-Vietnam society, and, the prequels were very obviously pulling from the Bush administration in
Hmm.
the aughts. And this felt like they finally really pulled that trigger and helped us realize why telling the story of this empire rising through fascism is such an important story to tell and why it feels so uncomfortably relevant. And this feels
Hmm.
even more uncomfortably relevant a year later. So,
Hmm.
yeah, 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 yeah.
yep.
All of
So,
that.
but all the cast is absolutely incredible and there's so much great character work.
Mhm.
And my hope I really enjoyed Dave Filoni and what he's done with Star Wars. My hope is that we don't get less types of Andor stories because he's taking over. Because it sounded like he wasn't exactly the biggest fan of Andor.
No, he didn't think it was Star Wars enough. We like,
Yeah. Because
dude,
he's very
dude, dude, dude,
Yeah.
well,
read the
that was one of
room.
the things that made it the fact that it was felt different made it fresh and different and interesting. And you know what? I'm looking forward to, the more quote unquote, I have air quotes here, Star Warsy types of projects and stuff like that. But like, if we can get stuff like this too, you get both,
Hmm.
right? You know, the saying. No,
Wait,
this is great.
Yep.
we can have both. Ooh.
Yep. We can. It's almost
Yeah.
like it's a whole universe that a galaxy even that you can
What?
explore.
But over like centuries of all different types of stories that aren't just, Skywalker stories.
Mhm.
Right. Shane, you're right. The release structure of this was interesting to say the least. 3 episodes at a time. The first two were fine, I guess.
I know we didn't really give space to rant about release schedules and structures this time around, but like this one really bothered me. But you know what? I did it. I did
Hmm.
it anyway. I planned to binge watch all 3 episodes in their 4 drops because, I wasn't going to be left behind watching the show. So Disney won. They got me. So
Yep.
whatever.
I mean, isn't that what happens 9 times out of 10 with?
Not for me anymore. Honestly, if a new show drops 3 episodes and then goes weekly, I usually wait to add it to my binge list later. I'm
Nice.
I'm done. Unless it's a show that I feel invested in or excited about, I'm not playing into their games
You heard
anymore.
it here. Yep.
Well,
That's me with shows that do the multiple parts thing. That's part of the reason I waited with Stranger Things. I'm like, nope, nope. I will
Uh,
wait till it's all out,
I'm not gonna lie,
sir.
Netflix got me with the Stranger Things, but they
Yeah,
did not get me with
exactly.
Cobra Kai. I waited until all 3 parts were released because I wasn't playing that game either. So
it made sense. No, it didn't. Never mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
agree with. All right.
Stranger Things in a perfect world would have just been released weekly and really built up momentum, but Netflix isn't going to do that.
Nope. Nope. They're definitely not. All right. My calculations are correct. You two have the same number one.
I did indeed fall in the pit since the last time we did
And
this
there we
recording,
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I had it as my number one.
and I
Mhm.
haven't
So
watched it yet.
I'm gonna let you
And
speak about it because I've already talked about my love for the
I
show
binged
and
through
I'm
all
yep.
15 episodes. I'm watching weekly for season 2. My one of my closest friends, my wife's best friend, Paige, and her sister do a podcast about the pit. They are pit pilled, and I have become pit pilled. in their estimations. Like this show is, I don't watch shows like this
No,
anymore.
Mhm.
no.
Generally, like
The
I don't
medical
watch
procedural.
medical.
Yeah.
No, I don't
I
generally watch
love medical
procedural
procedure.
stuff
Yeah.
anymore because so many of them, it's such a big commitment. Like I'm
Mm.
not gonna watch 25 episodes of
Oh yeah.
like that kind of stuff. This was genius. Like
Mm.
it's somewhere in the middle, 15 episodes. The idea of it has this perpetual motion. Every episode, I'm like, it's over.
Yeah, I know.
50 minutes blow by because you're so in it. These characters are amazing. These performances are amazing. I love Dr. King so much. She is
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. She is my favorite character. Noah Wiley is an incredible anchor to this whole entire
Oh,
show. And I will quote my wife's favorite thing to say: men will do anything but go to therapy.
yeah.
And he will work
How
15-hour shifts at
dare you say something accurate like that?
this
Except
man
at the
needs
very
therapy.
least, as we're seeing with season 2, he's at least gonna potentially he's taking a break.
Taking a break. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, I hope his motorcycling without a helmet, his ayahuascaing or whatever the hell he's going to do is going to be, helpful to him at some
Mhm.
point. But no, like these characters are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They get you invested with all of like the this is such an intricately written show with how each of
Mm.
these subplots thread into how many episodes they play out over, and all leading up to the big, mass shooting
Mm.
at the end was wild, and just the
Mm-hmm.
emotional elements is like this is peak television. Just
Mhm.
Yep.
there's my piece.
And it only took them a year. They're doing the thing where it took them a year. And I think what's more impressive is that, yeah, okay, it took them a year, but they also have been sweeping the awards, which goes to show, oh my God, you can just do that. Look at
Yep.
that and still be an awards darling because it's just like, it's a brilliant concept. Like you said, every hour is an hour and we're watching just like and it's great because it's like when you need a break from the like human drama, that's when the medical stuff comes in.
Yeah.
And but again, I say you cannot be a squeamish person and watch this show. Just
I
like
made
you
the
have to be a
mistake of eating pizza
yeah.
during
Oh,
the most recent episode, and
oh,
I didn't.
Oh
buddy, no,
I was
no.
hungry late. I hadn't ate, and I was just like, and then I like 5 minutes in the episode, I clicked in my head. I'm like, I shouldn't be eating watching the show,
yeah.
should I? And then I'm like, oh well. Well, to be fair, it couldn't have been worse than what I watched watching Primate earlier in the week. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
at least there
I
wasn't chips ripping people's faces off in this.
well, Shane, I kind of made a similar mistake as you. I was eating during this most recent episode until that cast came off, and then I was done. I was done eating.
Yes, because I was mid eating pizza when that happened, and I'm like,
I think I'm done.
I probably shouldn't have done this,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna do it anyway because I was too hungry. So I can.
Well, and then speaking of this first season plays on a lot of different things that are hot
Mm.
topics in the medical industry. Between
Mm-hmm.
you know
Patient satisfaction scores and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
like vaccinations and
Mm.
a lot of those hot button topics. And I feel like this second season is another
Oh,
show that's
already.
going after
Already.
AI and medical
AI
technology. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
that's being pushed in my job too for
It's being pushed
having
in every job. I'm so glad that they're doing it. Or
the notes
yeah,
thing
oh yeah.
yeah.
because the system that I'm in charge of apparently will have a new feature soon where it'll just listen to your appointment with a student and then AI summarize the
Yeah.
notes for the meeting.
Nothing could go wrong with that. What are you talking about? It'll be
Uh,
totally fine.
well, I think at this point it's pretty telegraphed to see who's going to be the one that fucks up and not edits their notes with that.
Mm.
And why is it going to be that one student who thinks that they know everything, or it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be the person that used the technology first? I could see that being a scenario and being like, oh, let this be a lesson learned because you are already pissing me off but
I
we'll see.
love I'm loving that character. I've seen so many takes on TikTok of people who are current medical students or working in the health industry, and they're like, I know that person. I hate that person. I hate that character because it is literally that I've worked with that person and it is. And I'm just like, oh, I just love that even in a room full of extremely smart, competent people, there's always that person who you're just like, oh, you're just so, why are you being the worst? And it's like already
It's
the
the
irritation.
worst.
Yeah, but because I know this show works how it works, I'm very curious to see kind of how I like they'll bring dimension to the character in a way that I'm sure is going to be quite interesting.
I can't believe we're already talking about season 2, and I'm so
I
glad
know.
that
Because it's
season
going to
2
be fast tracked to the top in this year's list for
prob-
2026.
So far,
probably
so good.
Good.
so far
So
so
far,
good.
so good.
All right. So those are our top 10s. Let's go through honorable mentions, and please keep honorable mentions to shows we have not talked about yet.
Mm.
Because as much as I'd love to say that, and I mentioned like certain shows that were on your list that were on the outside looking in, but some of my honorable mentions: Abbott Elementary, Hacks. This most recent season of Hacks was really good. I Love LA. Actually, surprisingly,
Yep.
love
Yep.
that one a lot.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed this most recent season of Black Mirror quite a bit. Apple cider
2 more
vinegar.
episodes of that.
Oh, those that penultimate episode is a doozy. So have fun with that. Apple cider vinegar was
Hmm.
shockingly good. Mo,
Yes.
really like that.
I'm so mad that I got canceled.
Yeah, I'm really bummed about that too. We Were Liars on Amazon. I like that. Even though it wasn't as good as season 1, I still liked Nobody Wants This. Running Point, I enjoyed a basketball show on Netflix.
Hmm.
Wanted to give a shout out to Creature Commandos, Gen V, and then my last one, Your Friends and Neighbors, because it gave us perhaps one of my most favorite
The
TikTok
greatest
things.
memes.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
look, if that TikTok thing gets more people to watch Your Friends and Neighbors, fine. I cool. I don't care. But
It made
also,
it
I
more
secretly love.
interesting for me to move it up my list to watch,
Yep.
for
There you
sure.
perfect. Shane, your any other honorable mentions?
Peacemaker season 2, that second to last episode gutted me, and John Cena shocked the hell out of me.
Yep.
That, like, my God, he has depth. He's already surpassed The Rock. Just Batista to
Hmm.
John Cena. Poker Face season 2, Shorzy season 4. I'm so invested in that show at this point. That Light and Magic season 2. Didn't think I needed a season 2 to that documentary series, and then it actually had surprising emotional depth. And haha, you clowns over on Adult Swim. Oh my God, this is like the feel good show of the year of just positivity.
Mhm.
And they're in like little 11-minute bites of these 3 weird brothers that are not triplets but have the same exact faces because that was an animation choice. It's such a weird show. And Smiling Friends, Resident Alien wrapping up, and South Park came back with a
Oh,
vengeance
South Park.
and
South
had
Park.
quote unquote 5 episode seasons, which was dumb as hell. But I think they're trying to, wiggle their way out of their contract that way. But like, they came back with a vengeance and torched anything and everything Trump administration related, and also Labubu and Six
Mhm.
Seven, which was the first time I ever heard that, was actually because of South Park.
Lucky you. Yeah,
Lucky me indeed.
South Park
Um,
came back with a vengeance this year, and I loved it.
Oh my God. And what happened to the Satan Trump fuck baby and the very end of that finale? It was so effed up and absolutely perfect. But anyway,
Nice. Alice, any other honorable mentions that you want to shout out?
Yeah, I mean, from last time, there was Bookish and No Taste Like Home with Anthony Porowski, and You, which didn't stay on my list. So I
Mhm.
wanted to shout him out. Mid-Century Modern as well, which unfortunately has been canceled, but I think that was more of a one of the main cast members unfortunately passed away, and so they just kind of saw it as a one season thing, but still a good show if you want to just chuck it on and enjoy yourself for one season's worth of fun. I also just want to shout out the Palm Royale. I think it did start in 2025, so
Yeah,
I think it's finished now. Oh, I don't know if
yeah.
it's finished now for good. Like the season's finished. I think it's getting a season 3. I can't imagine it's not, but it is a bit of fun. I do enjoy it. It's very like campy. I also want to shout out Murderbot because I finally caught up with that and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And each episode's like 27 minutes. It was amazing. And then Morning Show this season was actually really good. It was really Jennifer Aniston blew me away this season, and I thought I was over it, so I was impressed by that. And then I watched this show called North of North on Netflix, which is about the Inuk community rather, and has the main character who decides to break out of the like patriarchal kind of way of doing things. And I think more people should watch it. I have to mention my favorite Slow Horses as well. Every year it does amazing work and I absolutely adore it, along with Twisted Metal. And I think Wednesday also did great jobs with their new seasons. And finally, I want to mention Good Cop, Bad Cop, because I think more people need to see that show. It's a fun show with Leighton Meester. And it's Leighton Meester and Luke Cook as a brother sister like crime solving part, like they have to be partners in a small town, and again classic sort of thing with me, murder procedural, but it's actually got a fun little plot behind it. It's like one of those like comedies, like lighthearted like kind of thing where it's like it's murder but it's lighthearted. But those I'd say are the main ones I'm going to call out for
Sure,
2025.
but it's lighthearted. I like that.
Yeah.
So the morning show, I
Mhm.
really liked the morning show. I think if they would have made a different decision about the end, I think it would have gone down as like a show with like a tremendous amount of courage. But
Which decision? The way that a character really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I'll
But I am glad that it ended, that there was, I'll say that comeuppance was very satisfying.
Oh no, I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
So yes. Okay, cool. So last piece, any shows anybody's looking forward to this year? I think it's obvious that The Pit is off the table already because it's already on and all three of us are watching it. Shane, any shows that you want to shout out that you're looking forward to this year?
Shrinking.
Yep.
I can't wait for Shrinking season 3 to come out. And I'm still invested in House of the Dragon because I want to know how this story goes. So
I know how
it'll
it
be back in
goes.
June, probably. I know you're not, Alan. I fully awaited that response.
I'm hoping that because George R.R. Martin had a little whiny in an interview lately where he was like, oh, they're not doing it how they're supposed to do it. I'm like, oh, maybe they'll change it and it won't end terribly. So we'll see.
I did see him complaining about that. I'm slightly intrigued by this 6-episode, not even hour-long episodes of this new spin-off of Game of Thrones that starts
Night of the
tonight.
Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah, I saw that 45 minutes, and I'm like, that's interesting. And it's only 6 episodes. What?
Oh, now I'm
So,
excited to watch it.
There you go. And especially after the first episode, I'm very intrigued by Industry, which I know is a big show that Mike wants to really keep pushing. So that was probably on his list.
I have been championing Industry for what I feel like the last couple of years, and I feel like I've been talking into a void because everyone's like, it's
watch it, Mike.
Thank you. I feel seen and validated. Yeah, Industry. More people need to watch Industry for sure. Alice, any ones that you want to shout out?
Ones we haven't mentioned yet, Bridgerton season 4 comes soon, and I enjoy it. I'm very excited. This one's going to be a fun one because it's the Cinderella story, basically. So, also main character played by an Australian. So, woo, love that. A Korean Australian, I should say. Yep. Starfleet Academy. I mean, I'm very intrigued by this one. I think it could be potentially good. It could be terrible, but I'm hoping it's good.
Did you watch the first 2 episodes yet?
Not yet. Is it so far so good?
I think it's so far so good.
Okay,
I know.
good.
Resident diehard Star Trek fan Nick
Yeah.
Farrow is super excited after the first episode, at least.
Okay, good.
Time out. He is not a good judge of character when it comes to that because he Star Trek, all the characters could shit in a bag and he'd be like, "This is great." So I'm
Fair. On that
Fired by
note,
Mike on his own co-host.
I
he
will watch and assess.
he would love it regardless. So, but he will not be shy about if it takes a turn and he's like, this has lost me. So, but okay, cool. Alice, anything else?
Yes, I also want to shout out specifically The Artful Dodger season 2, which I'm shocked but very pleasantly so that we're getting a season 2 of this show. I just assumed it was one of those ones where I'm like, I loved it. I'll never see any more of it ever again. And we
Those are the
mentioned
worst
Paradise
feelings.
season 2. Yeah, we mentioned Paradise season 2, of course. One Piece season 2, I'm intrigued by because I really did enjoy the first
Me
season.
too.
So I am excited for this one. And then The Boys, because I just want it to end. Like, I'm so excited for this story to end. And I'm excited to finally see
It's going to
it
be a
come.
bloodbath.
Oh, I don't even care at this point. I just want it to be
Literally,
finished. It's
lit-
literally like one of the things where it's like I'm excited to see it because I'm excited that it has an end.
I
Mhm.
can guarantee there'll be a scene of Homelander literally bathing in blood.
I
Probably.
just think
That's
what they need to do is they've done too good of a job of replicating like just the depression of currently living in this day and age. And I'm like, can you just have it end well? Can you just have the bad guys lose and the good guys win and just let me have some peace in my fiction for the love of God? Like,
Fair. All of that
we'll see
is
about that.
all of that is fair.
yeah.
Only other ones to add for me is hey, we're getting another Marvel TV series with Wonder
Mm,
Man,
mm.
Forgotten, I guess. So I guess I'll
And a new
give
season of Daredevil. So
I'm
that's
super
one.
excited about the new season of Daredevil too.
I hope that that new season of Daredevil is good. I did like Cross, season 1 of Cross on Prime
Hmm.
Video, and I'm looking forward to a season 2. Other ones that weren't mentioned. Look, I'm generally usually very averse to like reboots of like existing shows. Secretly hope that the Scrubs reboot is like tolerable at best at this point. So we'll see about that. We mentioned The Beauty already. It's
Hmm.
coming out, I think, later this month, the first
Hmm.
sets of episodes. How you feel, Alice, how you feel about The Boys is how I feel about season 3 of Euphoria at this point. I'm like, this show,
Yeah, I think they need to just put that show out of its misery.
yes,
And all its
absolutely.
cast members who have moved on.
Yes, absolutely with that. And if it is true that at some point this year we are getting a second season of X-Men 97, sign me up. I will be there. I am sat. I will watch and
Me
all of that.
too.
So, all right.
Question: Is Avatar getting a second? Is Avatar's second season coming out this year on Netflix?
Oh
It
yeah,
is.
wasn't it
It
supposed
Because,
to?
it
because
is.
It's not
Alice, but
dated.
Alice, when you brought up One Piece, I'm like, wait a minute, because which I did really enjoy the first season of
Yeah.
One Piece, so I'm excited about that. And then like, wait a minute, is an Avatar coming out too? Because I actually
Yeah.
really did enjoy that first
I
season
enjoyed
of
it
Avatar.
too, but I there's no date for it. That's why it hasn't
Well,
come up on my list.
I
So,
think, but I think the reason why I'm more excited about this season is because we're getting Toph, and that's all I want. Bring Toph in. That's
yep,
I will
so.
lose my mind
there
if
is
they
nothing.
seek.
There is no crime in Ba Sing Se.
I will lose my mind if they secretly got Dwayne Johnson to come in and be the Boulder. I will I will lose it.
No, no, don't ruin it. They've done the casting well so far. I don't want stunt casting for this. Leave it alone. I just want to see Daniel Day Kim absolutely destroy something this season.
Yes. Oh, that was one of my things that I really enjoyed about them is actually building him up and having him
Hosea.
more as a presence. Because, like, having Mark Hamill show up in like the last 3 episodes of the animated series was pretty darn cool. But like them actually building him up as a character throughout the show, I really like so far. So
Yeah.
hopefully it comes out this year. Because God, why does that have to be 2027 if we're waiting another year? Back
Mhm.
to
Speak
Alice's
about
point.
talking about kids aging. Look at Aang. Like,
Oh
Jesus.
God,
He's a
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
He's just
for
a
sure.
man now. Now it's like, at least it won't be weird with him and Katara, I guess.
That is accurate. All right. Well, we did it. That is
Woo.
our recap of TV in 2025, and we're putting a bow on it, and we're moving on to 2026 as our, everything that we're talking about with the pit, because we're all already super excited about that. But
Yep.
thank you all so much for your time and for your commitment to television.
Woo.
Alice, where can the people find you?
Oh, many places. No. So you can find me on Letterboxd and Instagram at Ali G Mick. I'm also a writer for Sif Pop and also TV Sin. So some of my work over there as well. So yeah, come say hi on one of the many channels.
One of the many channels, Shane.
Yes.
I just realized I haven't been on somebody's show in a while and haven't had to do this in a while. So you can always head over to my website, thewastelandreviewer.blog, where I do monthly articles and I'm doing a lot more written reviews on there, and I basically shamelessly plug whatever I do on there. Also my Instagram, which is kind of like my central hub of things, and then my YouTube channel is the biggest thing, the Wasteland Reviewer, where I reviewed a lot of movies from last year, probably too many, and I have my weekly shows, and obviously a member of the crew here on the SPDM crew with my still have 5 podcasts, just one's different. And my biggest thing that I want to say now, because this is something I'm really trying to make work. So I've been inspired and pushed by some people to actually start a film class. So
Oh.
I, uh, I, s- I don't know if any of you are familiar with the platform School, Skool. So I started a community and a film class on there. If you are interested in learning about film history and expanding your horizons, it is a $10 a month subscription. Right now, I will be having 2 video lectures each month and also trying to build some community and events with that too. So if you're interested, come check it out over on School. It's lessons on film.
Cool, cool. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you all so much. And until next time for our mid-year review, we'll sign off there.